stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I did. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Put your phones on silent if you don't mind.
William. For asking me. I shouldn't be getting into that. You said that last time. I know. You never know. I'm putting it on fire.
All right, Mayor, we have a new council person to be sworn in. One. We did one at the last meeting, last week.
Yeah, you weren't here. The workshop. Is that legal?
Yeah, it's an official meeting.
Legal enough.
If it's advertised, was it advertised? Yeah, okay, yeah, you're fine.
That's fine.
Okay, we're gonna
Which one?
swear in Candace.
All you have to do is raise your right hand and repeat after her.
Probably stand.
I
I, Candace France,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support
that I will support
and obey and defend
and obey and defend
the Constitution of the United
the
States
Constitution of the United
and
States
the Constitution of PA,
and the Constitution of PA,
and that I will discharge the duties
and I will discharge the duties
of my office
of my office
with fidelity
with fidelity
and for the residents of the West Mayfield Borough.
and for the residents of the West Mayfield Borough.
And welcome to council and the rest of them.
Congratulations.
Sorry for
Yeah, there need to be a stipulation on there that says you have to serve for at least 180 days.
Roll call, Jenna.
Bob Tate,
I'm here.
Justin Wilshire,
Here.
Dick Tate,
Here.
Ryan Swisson,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Joe,
Here.
Will,
Okay.
Candace.
See you.
Okay. Need approval for last month's minutes. Need a motion.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Review of tonight's agenda. Is there any changes?
Now, I'm good. We'll take the pictures. We're good. That's the streets that were marked out, yes. Sorry, if you want to give that to me.
The only thing I see is just like under old business under me is, it's the same thing as new business under you. So we can just look back at
We'll
it.
let you go with the old business then. Give you something to talk about.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. Need a motion to approve? Oh, no, we didn't change nothing. Okay, officer reports.
In the month of May, there were 32 incidents that the Beer Falls Police responded to. They are all cleared and closed.
Good job, Chief.
Thank you, Chief. As of May 31st, in our general fund, we have $622,557.39. In the liquid fuel, as of May 31st, we have $102,945.42. In the Pliget investment account, we have $4,031.45. In the Pliget capital purchase fund, we have $1,805.32. In the water and sewer fund, we have $139,748.19. And in the emergency management fund, we have $12,628.70.
Okay, thank you. Need a motion to accept, I guess.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Opposed? All right. No correspondence? Zoning officer report. Nina?
Now you say it. What was it? I just had it. There was 9 issues with people with high grass and weeds, 2 vehicles, 2 trash, people that are trashy, and I'm just messing on it. It had too much trash. And then we issued 4 permits.
Okay. Are we gonna talk about
That's,
Is that on,
it's down here somewhere, but it's not here.
okay, yeah, that's under new, okay.
About the West 10th property we brought up last month.
Chestnut,
I don't know what it is.
Pat's neighbor,
Yeah,
yeah, we'll be talking
That's,
about
that's
that.
in here.
okay.
Actually, I could talk about that now, probably, under my code enforcement.
Well,
'Cause-
What a rip.
Okay. I talked to Joe about this. Last year, we took her to court. This is Pat's neighbor over here. The grass is this high again. She never showed up for court last year, and
according to the magistrate's office, supposedly there's some type of a warrant out for her,
yeah,
but it's,
which nothing will nothing of that is gonna help clean
Clean
the
up the
place
issue,
up.
no.
I know that.
they, at the magistrate office, they said we can keep refiling and more fees can be assessed to her, but again, it's not gonna fix the problem with her.
Yeah, so what we decided is, with our code, it says that we can go onto her property and clean it up and put a lien on her place. So the question is, do we just send Brian and Gerald over? That way we don't have any extra fees, extra money we have to pay out of our general fund would just be
That
their
could potentially
regular
take
hours.
years to get back.
And then we have to put a lien on the place. And it's probably gonna happen 2 or 3 times this year to keep it under control. Go in, cut the grass, clean up all the trash,
Keep track of how many times we do it, and that way at the end of the season, we
put a lien on
give
it.
You have
the
to track all
information
the
to
hours.
Joe. Correct.
If you're both there, if one's there.
Well, what you gotta do is send, and this is what we talked about the other day. You got a couple ordinances, one on weeds, I don't remember if I sent you the follow-up yet or not, email on that.
Didn't get it.
Okay. Your one on nuisances is better. Your ordinance on weeds says you have to have personal service, like you have to have a policeman or secretary treasurer actually go knock on the door and serve the notice to the person. That's cumbersome and probably not a good idea. Your ordinary nuisance ordinance says you just do the notice, you send it to them, tells them what their rights are. They have 15 days to take care of it. If they don't, then you have our people go in, take care of it, cut it down, and keep track of, every cent that you spend on that. And yeah, you can file the lien right away. Filing a lien isn't that big a deal, as I was explaining to Tina and Bob. It's a pretty short document you filed at the courthouse. But you don't want to file it right away with your first cutting because you're going to have, like you said, however many cuttings in a season. And then at the end of the season, whatever it is, 4, 5, 6 cuttings, you file for the lien at that time.
Total.
Total, yeah.
And then next year will be the same thing.
Now,
I'm sure.
quite frankly, like Bob was saying, if you give her the citation where she goes, where you file at the magistrate's office, she may just pile up these fines that aren't going to get paid right away. And eventually, they may drag her in there. I don't know. But the point with that is, it still looks like heck then. You're not getting it done.
Yeah,
You
it's
know
not
what I
fixing the
mean?
problem.
This way you can get it done. It still might take a while to get all your money, but you'll get it eventually because eventually she's gonna sell the house, refinance it, something like that.
Unless they do a sheriff's sale or something like that.
That could be added to the sheriff's sale.
Oh, can't?
Yeah.
Okay, because when you and I talked before, there was something that,
Well,
there
yeah,
was one, they said that they wouldn't be added to it.
that was the one tax sale. Sheriff's sale is different from a
Is that
tax
the
sale.
judicial sale or
Yeah.
some other sale?
Yeah, Bob's right. There's 2 kinds of tax sales. I don't wanna get into weeds, no pun intended, too much here. With the first tax sale, our lien would be there. The second one, judicial tax sale, all liens get wiped out. Us, IRS, everything gets wiped out. But that doesn't happen that often, so.
Still, it's not gonna cost us a whole lot. I mean, it's just gonna be there
And the thing is, you gotta,
during the day.
and this way too, you get the property looking halfway decent so the neighbors aren't.
Yeah.
Keep the vermin out.
And what about damage to our equipment? Like if something were to happen, or damage to their house? like a rock.
Or other
You
property.
can't damage that house.
That's true, you showed me a picture of it, you can't
No.
damage. Well, damn it,
You could, but you wouldn't notice.
I say cross that bridge when we come to it. I don't think that's
I
something.
mean,
to
I would
worry about.
assume just like labor and using your equipment, you gotta pay for fuel, that should be included in.
Well,
If you need more string, if it breaks and you had to replace it because you were using it on it, I mean,
Oh, we're
All
definitely
those
gonna have
could
to
be-
factor in wear and tear for
Yes.
sure, because that's a lot
yeah,
of
it's
extra.
basically you charge whatever
Especially
anybody
tires.
else would
Right.
charge to come in.
so if it
Yeah.
happens, you know,
My
I mean, it
question
gets added to the
isn't
bill.
really so much as far as that. You guys talked about hauling trash away. One man's trash is another man's treasure. Now, what happens if she decides to say, "Hey, that was worth blah blah blah," and you guys
She would
threw it
have
away?
to sue us for it, and she's not gonna do
She'll
that.
get a
Right now-
notice. If she gets notice, it's not just overgrown vegetation, Jacob. If she gets a notice saying, you've got trash, literally,
Yeah.
in your front yard, she's been put on notice to take care of it. If she fails to do so and we clean it up, no, she can't come back after us. She can say, whatever, at $1 million this, whatever the heck it is. Doesn't matter because you were put on notice, lady, to take care of that and you failed to do so within the requisite period of time.
Like she has that greenhouse that's
Standard
there.
letter made up
Well, I said,
for
well,
everybody.
yeah, I said to Tina and Bob, I'll do the first one. In fact, I got her spelling of her name and everything else like that. You want me to go ahead and do it, I'll do it.
Okay.
And then they could use that as a template
Right.
for the future.
So it's like she has a greenhouse, so-called greenhouse that's so dilapidated, it's actually falling over. So now you've got a structure that's filled with whatnot, that anything could be living in that thing, you know? I mean,
I don't know if we
Falling
can
over?
move structures, right?
How far can we go with that? I mean, can we deal with structure? Can we just the grass and
Well, I mean, that's-
any open rubbish?
I'd have to go back and look at the ordinance. That's a nuisance ordinance.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
probably could, but then you're gonna have to get into, you have to be careful. You just say a particular structure is unsound or unsafe. You might have to get into
I mean,
more
it's not
expense on
like-
that, like the engineer or something like that.
it's not like a house or a shed, it's, I mean, it's really like a
Missed
cloth
that one. Did you guys go around?
greenhouse that's
She had a
totally,
greenhouse frame, you told me.
yeah,
I've
that's
seen
basically,
those
that's all
before.
that's left and it's kind of fallen over, so
Yeah.
everything is kind of out there, you know, and it's in the front yard. We're not talking like it's in the backyard, hidden by trees or something.
Right,
It's
right.
it's right there slapping the front. Very
It's garbage.
unsightly.
It's garbage.
Which we do have ordinances that says that we are not to be unsightly, you know? I mean,
Yeah, that's your-
right in our zoning, right in the top.
Now, how busy is Brian and Gerald? On
They're
top
always
of,
busy.
well, I know that, that's what, is that
We can
something?
handle.
Okay, make sure you had it.
Well, the question is how many of these can you handle? Because there may be more.
Well,
No, they're the only ones that we're really having a issue with that.
most people are pretty good about, hey, can you please, you know, and.
Full blow, we
and
got a
they're-
boom mower.
Yeah, it's,
Cut the whole yard in about 5 minutes.
But then you gotta rake it and then cut it with rake it, clean up all the garbage, and then cut it again to make it look presentable.
Yeah.
'Cause if we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it right.
That's what I said. I don't know
We're
what's
gonna
in
build
that
it.
yard. You'll have to have Gerald or somebody
nobody knows
walk it
what's in that
first.
yard. Oh, I wouldn't walk that. I mean, there might
You don't
be,
want to run into a piece of metal or something either.
well, that's where you probably need to use a weed whacker and just go as you go.
Should we go ahead and do it, or?
Well, my question is, should,
Well, we have to send her a
wait.
letter.
We have to wait.
send her a
We're
letter.
gonna,
Yeah, Brian, I gotta send the letter first, like.
Okay.
Mhm.
okay.
And you're gonna give us a copy, right, for records.
Do we need a vote on that?
Not really, you're the code enforcement officer, if your discretion
Okay,
and carrying out your duties, you think it's necessary, you can do it.
all right.
It was just, I think it was just that it had to get discussed about using the
Using the
borough workers and, you know, not just,
Yeah, because I've talked to different, yard guys, and basically, if your yard's overgrown and you haven't cut it yet this year, and it should have been cut 4 times, say, they're gonna charge what it costs to cut your grass 4 times. That's how they do it whenever when they come in, somebody says, hey, I need my grass cut. Well, and it hasn't been cut this year, so it should have been cut 3 or 4, whatever, that's how they bill. So if they charge $40 to cut that grass, it's gonna be $120 to do it. So
Let
that's
me
how
ask you a
that works.
question, Joe. At the end of the year, I don't know if we've cut it 4 times, maybe I don't, you're not gonna cut it every week, are you?
No,
No,
They
no,
got up to
every
6
every
inches.
2
At
to
the end
3
of, at the end
weeks.
of the year, if we've cut it, I'm just gonna pull the number 4 out, and we're gonna say $400 a cut,
No, I don't think
That's a little high.
oh, whatever.
I mean, it might be on the first time we go out there, like
Yeah.
400 bucks,
But
yes.
If you,
Because
and my
it's gonna
point
be
is,
trash
if you
cleanup,
get, if you
too.
get
Yeah.
4 bills there and it comes out to about $400 or $500 for the year, can she pay that off to eliminate that?
She could, but she
Yeah.
won't.
Well, I'm not saying that.
Yeah, but she could.
Yeah, she could
She
pay
could,
it
she
off,
could.
What I'm looking at is, can other people use that as a lawn service?
Yeah, I
No.
understand, but once you file,
unless they wanna lean.
once you file or I file on your behalf, municipal lien at the volunteer's office at the courthouse, those fees that I charge you are built into that. She's gotta pay
But that's
that.
only at the end of the year you're talking about.
Yeah, and interest too. So, it'd be a lot cheaper for her just to hire,
And some people don't think that way.
Yeah.
Hey, they're coming down doing like, if I can pay at the end of the year, it's one lump sum.
I can't say that would be impossible to happen. That could happen.
But I mean, if they could pay that at a lump sum, $500 to get their yard cleaned up, then just take care of it,
I don't disagree.
But
I know the
This-
person,
this
I
is-
know her, she's not gonna pay it. She called me all kinds of names last year and told me how the government ripped her off for $1 million and there's
landmines.
Whipple Court put landmines in her yard and all kinds of stuff,
That's
so.
one of them.
You okay with that, Brian? You can handle landmines, right? I'll send Gerald.
That's what I said, Well, I told them to walk the property.
All right, so Joe, you'll
Okay.
send us
Yeah.
something, then we'll take it
Okay.
from there.
Good deal.
So, that's settled, good.
Okay.
Okay, next, and then, I have talked to, we drive around here, every time I see somebody, I think you brought it up about the one property with all the trash. He said he would have it.
West Fourth,
No,
oh wait,
no.
West Fourth would be
Orchard.
down by B&W, be up one.
Orchard.
it's up above it. Oh wait, go ahead.
Well, didn't you tell me
Oh,
about it?
about him.
Yeah, I'll clean it up this weekend. I got guys, well, that was last week, and he still hasn't, so.
We just did a
He's gonna be
drive-by.
a problem, I think. But most of them, I stopped and talked to just probably, 8 or 9 of them?
Yeah.
We just drive around and you guys tell me, other people call me. If I get the call, I stop, I talk to them, and most of them are saying, yeah, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
And most of them are taking care of it. She's the worst, he's the second. So,
Yeah.
we're gonna stay on them.
Did you find out about the stuff down at West Fifth that had the stoves and washing machines out in the front on the porch and shingles active
Yeah.
everywhere, been there for years?
Yeah, that's Kevin Main.
I don't know.
And I'm working on it. Didn't you notice? I'm like, no, I didn't notice. I couldn't tell. But yeah, he did
He
get
got-
rid of some of the shingles.
Yeah, some of the
But
shingles.
But I'm gonna keep working on it. I said, okay. So
We'll keep pestering them, that's all.
actually 2 or 3 of them back in there.
Yeah.
But I've left notes and I've talked to some of them and I've left notes on other doors.
Good.
So we're staying on top of it.
Good job.
But that's where we're at.
Perfect.
Okay, so next, emergency management. Eli.
So we are rewriting the basic emergency operations plan. We had to cut out a bunch of stuff that we had with the fire department. So we'll get that, bring that to council. The biggest thing, especially now with 2 new council members, FEMA classes online, IS 100, IS 700. I'm gonna shoot you guys an email. You'll have to log into FEMA. Ooh, Billy's already got some stuff. I'll shoot you an email that'll give you the links. Log into the FEMA, get a student ID number, and then you log into the online site where you use your student ID number, log in, sit through these 2 courses that talk about the National Incident Management and IN system and your basic intro to what emergency management is. As elected officials, you folks are the ones that are responsible for emergency management. As your coordinator, I'm the guy that had a lot more than the 2 classes you were required to do. So I go through the process and do the response and things like that. But those are kind of required. Like I said, Bill's got it on paper, but I'll shoot you an email sit
Yeah, 'cause I don't know how old.
With your
this
number, in
is
case you
exactly.
have a hard time getting in.
It's a government website. You go and you do it. It's, yeah. If you have trouble with it, I could try and help you, but it's pretty simple. I've done like 35 or 40 of the classes. Not that tough. Ryan, yes, you have 100 and 700 for.
Yeah, I asked him that last time. He said he had, he was gonna get us copies.
Yeah, worst case scenario, if you don't find this on the government page because it's buried in a ton of other stuff, Google it. Google IC 100, you know, whatever, or 700, and there will be a link and it'll take you right to the page you need to be. I had a hard time finding
You gotta
it.
have your
Yeah,
SIN
you
number
need the
first.
student
your
ID number
Yep.
first before you do that.
And once you pass it, that's when you can take it as many times as you want. Then you should be getting a certificate, and you'll need a copy of that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever, oh, it's an online certificate, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You have mine, right?
I don't think I ever got yours.
Still with
You told
that.
me you passed it, but I don't
I
think I
feel
ever
like
got it.
I'll have to dig it up. I got a certificate somewhere.
Yeah, there's when you go to that FEMA website, there's a little thing that'll give you, brain for what do you call the certificates? Yeah, like a grade report
Okay.
that'll print out and say, you know, yeah, I took the 100 class, the 700 class, or each class gives you a little certificate of completion.
Now I can just log right back in and be able to print that, correct? If I don't have
Absolutely,
it.
yep.
Perfect. Easy enough. Thanks, Eli.
Anything else?
No, nothing off the top of my head.
All right, thanks, Eli. All right, Chief Johnson, anything? Nope.
Nothing additional.
Okay, good. Secretary Treasurer report.
The only thing I have is, I was talking to Candace about this and Brian, the toilets and the sinks, I know we replaced the, toilet paper holders and everything last month, but the toilets and the sinks at the park they're in bad shape. And I talked to Brian, got a couple quotes. So for the cheapest option, to replace all of the toilets and the sinks, it'll be like $318 roundabout in that range. And then to get like a better option, it would be like $498. And Brian said that they could put them in, so that would just be on, you know, the borough workers. Nothing additional other than, the materials. So I wanted to bring that to everybody.
So what toilets are you replacing? All the ones in both bathrooms?
Yep, all three of them.
All three?
All
Three
three, and then
toilets,
and
two
two sinks. So what does everybody think of that idea?
I think it's good.
That's a
Yeah.
good price.
So
Want me to make a motion, we go ahead and move it?
as long
I'll make the motion.
well, which one do we wanna do? Do you wanna do the cheaper option, or do you, just so it could be in there?
I mean, for less than,
$100.
yeah, $100. Actually,
$190.
Well,
Yeah.
one is, like, the cheapest option is around 109. The more expensive option, like the better toilet, is 199.
Each.
can we
Yeah,
get a better
each.
deal on this room or anything?
No, that's pretty cheap for a toilet. $100, it's probably not gonna be that great of a toilet.
And
What-
our
where's it
sinks
coming
gonna
from?
like
Where did you get the
run
prices from? Home
water.
Depot? Home Depot.
They actually have one sale there.
I mean, they're probably gonna break it anyway, so
they're cold. Yeah, that's my
That's what I
concern.
was thinking.
go ahead with the cheaper option.
Okay, so we wanna do the cheaper option, where it'll be like 318 roughly for
Yeah.
3-4.
I guess we have to
So I'll
replace
make-
it down the road. It's
I'll
not
make the
gonna be
motion
that.
go and.
Do we need a motion? I mean, that's just coming out of the, we have money in the,
Mhm.
okay, we do need a motion then.
I think it's over $100.
It's
Don't
over
make the
100.
motion, I'll second it.
Okay, thanks guys.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Buy some toilets.
And then the
And
other
sinks?
thing I have, sorry, go ahead. Good. I thought you were saying something. Okay, the other thing I have is, I talked to the bank again about, investments, that I brought up last, appointment, or last meeting.
CDs or something.
Yeah, like a CD or a money market or whatever. He wants to have a meeting with a financial advisor and then also the manager of the bank. Because we do have such a significant amount of money that we could invest if we wanted to, so he wants to bring in a financial advisor as well through First National Bank. So I wanted to invite whoever wanted to come to that, you know, Bob, anyone that wants to.
When,
What?
I-
just let me know.
Yeah, I
If I'm here, yeah.
haven't made it yet, cause I wanted to see who all wanted to come, so I can get the most concise scheduling possible.
Justin,
everyone does
if
band
you're
hours.
available, you should be in on it.
So, just us three maybe? Would you wanna come?
That's my background, so if you want, just.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah, Candace is in.
Okay, she is so excited right now.
Okay, alright, so, what? us
I
four
forgot you did
kinda
that.
figure that out?
Yeah.
Alright, that works for me. I will get, I'll call him tomorrow and figure out what works for him, and then we can figure out what works for all of us. Okay? That's all I got.
Perfect. Okay, citizens, do we have citizens' comments tonight?
Yeah, we do, it's just me.
Okay,
Just you.
Let's say just,
Tell me when you're ready.
I guess we need a motion
Yeah,
then?
motion.
Okay,
I'll make a motion to go, sir.
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay.
Okay. I talked to Mr. DeGory today, and he lives at 3716, you might want to write this down, West 6th Avenue. He's concerned about an area on his road that was repaired by, he's telling me, the water authority last year that's sinking. So if somebody could go look at that, I would appreciate it, so that I don't have to.
I know a guy.
Okay. The other thing he wanted to know was, if we discontinue with the garbage people that we have now, are they gonna do anything about these bills that these people who go to Florida don't pay? Are they gonna?
That's what
We're gonna have to try to address some of that, yes.
Yeah, he wanted to know what was gonna happen, cause he's here maybe 6 months and gone 6 months. His bill's up to something between $600 and $700. So he's willing to pay for the six months that he's here. But, and I know the contract didn't address that when we did it, but I would think some money's better than no money for the garbage people.
What did we decide at the last meeting? Didn't we, were we gonna get, we were, about the garbage. We have to get together
Yeah, we have to get some bids.
and,
Make up what
Yeah,
you
you
want
need
to have.
yeah,
because don't you have this is your last year under that contract?
yes.
I'm trying to remember now, I can't, off the top of my head, there's an automatic renewal if you don't, maybe there isn't. You have to let them know within so many months prior, we're not close to that,
No.
but,
Yeah, I
yeah.
think it's 3 months.
But didn't you,
I think we're posting a poll, right?
That's what we were gonna
Kevin
do.
was gonna
Yeah,
post a
he
poll.
has the poll ready, he sent it around.
but don't we have to start working on making a list of things that you want?
Right.
And maybe get a copy of the old agreement to look at to kind of compare what
Right.
should get altered? If you
Well,
can
there's
get a
gonna be a
copy.
lot altered.
I know, but
because,
if you could get a copy of the old, this this contract, then maybe you can alter it for the next one going forward. Of what
It's
you
gonna
want to
be,
see.
yeah, it's gonna be a combination of both. It'll be a combination of the survey, the questions asked. We'll take that stuff into factor and the old stuff.
This original contract that we're under right now that we know that we don't like.
Yes, I think an evening, sitting down with a couple people is gonna settle that out real quick.
Yeah, the big thing is the people that are snowbirds, the people that are in the hospital, and nobody's living there. And the empty houses that sit for how many months before, while somebody's buying it and fixing it up. Because they won't take the waste from building materials and they're still gonna charge. So that's the biggest issues. And how much do we want to pay? Do we want unlimited or 1 can or 2 cans? So that's, Kevin, you got all that pretty much. And that's Kevin's gonna take care of that, put that out on the website and whatever. So, yeah. That's where we're at with that. We'll even let Kevin talk more about that. It's his turn next anyways. Is there any? Oh, okay.
The property you mentioned on Orchard, is it on the left-hand side going down Orchard?
No.
It's on the bend,
It's on the, it's
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 up
the
top.
last one on the right.
right before you get to the school.
Oh, the.
Right next to the
rent-
school.
It's a rental property then, or did she
No.
buy it? Somebody else buy it?
Yeah, that's Dennis and,
Jean Street, sorry, Jean
Yeah, it's
Street.
Jean.
Well, then forget
yeah,
it.
it's Jean.
Like I
Okay.
said, that's not.
It's right by the school. It's
Or
right
he
by the
said
school.
Orchard.
I know.
Yeah, I messed up.
Orchard Alley.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, there you go.
And the permits. I need to know if these permits are for additions, deletions, because I have to watch for correspondence from the courthouse that addresses those.
The only
Well-
ones that go to the courthouse are coming, most of them,
So
like
Pat,
additions, garages, stuff like that is what's gonna come from the courthouse.
yeah, but Jenna, are you turning them in to the courthouse?
Turning the
The
permit
permits?
things?
Mhm. Then, yeah, because that's what Pat used to do. We thought we had to do that, was take them down there and fill out a document, but they told us that the secretary always ships it off, so,
Okay,
as long as she sends it in, then, yeah.
okay, all right. That's my list.
Okay.
You want copies of those permits? Is that what you
No,
would
I don't have copies of
No,
it.
don't you?
Yeah, it would be nice if I could. Jenna, could you make copies of the permit you're turning in for me?
Sure.
Could you put
And I'm
that,
just once a month?
could you put that on your SOG list? That's how.
Yeah, I
that
will.
Your
I
office should
certainly
get those.
That will expand your line.
Hmm?
Make your line bigger.
Two lines.
You get
So
another line.
important. Okay, that's it. Mr. DeGore just wanted to know about all that stuff and I'm not on the road department, so I couldn't really help him, but I told him I'd mention it.
Fair enough.
He wants to get more involved. They're gonna move up here permanently. And once they do, he wants to get more involved. in
Well,
what's
I do
going
know
on.
that they've been going around and so the original patches, those were like, what do you call them, Band-Aids?
Temporary.
Yeah,
Temporary.
we just cold mix them until
Yeah,
the nice weather
and now,
comes.
recently, they've been working their way up and actually getting a paving company in to actually fix them.
Who's been working their way up?
The water authority.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what they do is they go around, they mark them all. I
He
think
said
they're all
it's
marked, right?
He said it's marked.
If it's
Yeah,
marked,
so then they'll
they're
come saw cut it,
Yeah, they
they'll
saw.
dig it out, and then they'll put a new patch in,
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
a permanent patch.
Nothing to worry about. It took them, I don't know, after ours were marked, it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks and then they had, what company was that?
Youngblood came in down on
Youngblood.
Patterson Avenue.
Yeah.
That one lady got a whole new little road because of us.
Looked good until it rained.
Yeah. All that gravel washed on it.
Next.
Kevin, you're up.
Okay, if you've seen the June edition of Borough News, the Q&A, it couldn't be more appropriate. There's such great information here, so I strongly advise you to get a chance to take a look at that. One of the questions is about solicitation in the borough and who doesn't need a solicitation permit. This just came up last week. There was a whole discussion on the thing. So people were soliciting for church, right? So Mayor, reach out to you. There will be an SOG. This information that's in the Borough News should be factored into the solicitation stuff. It basically says that if you're a religious group, political group, or a charitable nonprofit, you don't need to get a permit. The borough could request that someone says, hey, could you let us know? That's just a request. This is a ruling from the Supreme Court. A lot of municipalities actually have updated solicitation ordinances that specifically mention that court case, but they also cite that the court hold that if you have a solicitation sign, a window sticker or a yard sign, nobody has a right to come onto your property, no matter who they are, even if you have a permit, right? So that
Sign
protects.
saying no
No
solicitation at this home or
Right.
something.
Some municipalities actually offer them to the citizens, a sticker or whatever. So I asked you if you were interested in maybe something like that. I feel in some of the commenters on social media about this, every one of them said, yeah, I'd be interested in having a sign. So that's an interesting thing, but that's in the Borough News here. Another thing is, this Federal Highway Administration Form 536, you know about this? It's liquid fuels, right, Bill? Is that what that is? Apparently the due date was changed, June 15th. That's something new apparently, so I guess you're gonna have to be filling that out. But anyway, I didn't realize that I put this on our SOG for a municipal planner, a calendar. So come rolling around June, we will see from moving forward, oh, this form needs to be submitted, so everyone's aware of that, so it won't get dropped. Fire escrow ordinance, that's in here too, we just passed that. It says here that once you pass it, and I reached out to you about this a while back, you have to submit that to DCED, saying you have this on record, you'll be then entered into the database. So when a claim is made, you automatically be flagged, right, for having that. But did you do that? Oh, you did, that's great, awesome. Another thing is in here is the NIMS requirement for all elected officials. That popped up in this month too. And also for new, for the right to know officer, we're gonna talk about this today, it's on the agenda for an agency open records officer. It says here that yes, the borough must have an agency open records officer and notify the Office of Open Records, and there's a particular registration form that you fill that out, you send that to them, they update their database for agency open records officers. So that's in here too. So great information there. I just wanted to pass that along to you. I did work up a beta version of the residential trash service survey. So I'll send you all a copy of it, and if we can make any changes to it that you want. It's not public yet. I did send the community advisor group, citizen advisor group, a beta. Everyone thought it looked good. So I'm asking if you want to provide your name, provide it. So maybe we can follow up if someone has their own issue. That's optional. Whether they're resident or non-resident, like a property owner, if you own property here, but you're paying your property manager, landlord, that's a question. Whether you live in a single housing unit or apartment building, family dwelling, whether you're the responsible person for the trash bill or your landlord is, and if you receive trash service at one property or many. So that covers about customers. The amount of service, we ask if they have 1 bag a week, 1 to 2 bags a week, 3 to 4 bags a week, each a week. If they have large volume trash, how frequently? Sometimes 4 or more bags weekly, sometimes 4 or more often, say once a month or more. And sometimes if they have large items, such as mattresses and things, right? So this will give us a read for those who do participate, just what kind of service people are using and may want. Trash containers, we ask if they have 1 to 2 trash cans, about 48 gallons each, or if they have a large trash can, or if they have more than 1 large can, or like my neighbor, they don't have any trash can at all. They just put these bags out in the alleyway. My neighbor put her bags out Monday.
Technically, that's illegal.
Right,
That's against our code.
right. So if people answer that, we'll have a sense of that at least. A question about unlimited versus limited service. Whether someone prefers unlimited weekly trash service, they would pay more, but no restrictions on weekly amount of bags or items, or if they prefer limited service, to pay less, but with restrictions on weekly amounts. And for cost of service, we're asking if the current cost of weekly trash pickup is within their budget, or if it's not, if it's a financial hardship. Get a sense of that. Because, if you ask anybody, you want to pay this bill or you want to pay less, they'll always say yes. I think the most appropriate question is can you afford it, or is this within your budget? And then there's a question on preference, if someone minds paying more for unlimited weekly trash service because it suits their needs, or if they prefer to pay less for limited trash service because it suits their needs. And then a question about right-sizing the service. For the greater good, our residential trash service should fit the needs and desires of the entire community. I agree, I don't agree with that. And so for current residential trash service, meaning Aiken, the rating is, how would you rate Aiken Refuse? There's a 1 to 5 star thing there. What concerns or issues you've had with Aiken Refuse? No issues or concerns, customer service, billing and payments, quality of curbside service, roadway and property damage, and other. Tell us more about your experience with Aiken Refuse. Future residential trash service. Should the borough renew its residential trash service contract with Aiken? Yes or no? What should the borough prioritize in the next residential trash service agreement? Choose a professional, and this is check all that applies. Choose a professional, competent trash service provider. Ensure that the trash service provider is responsive to municipal needs and concerns. Lower the cost of residential trash services. Choose an appropriate level of trash service for the entire community. For example, limited service for everyone. Would you like to review the terms and conditions of any future residential trash service agreement before council approves it, yes or no? And of course, an sort of open-ended question of any other comments someone might have for council. So it seems long, but it's really quick when you go online. So when I send it out to you, you see it, anything that you want to change, add, delete, whatever, just let me know. We could do that pretty easily.
Sounds good.
Okay? And then all the
Perfect.
all the fields will be put into a spreadsheet. You can collect all that.
Okay. Appreciate that.
Okay.
That's some fine work there, Kevin.
So George Newsom was here at our work session meeting, and he sent me an email basically, and we'll definitely have to follow up on this. So he's saying, look, if you want to move forward with all this DCD stuff, council should meet and prioritize the 5 most important issues of the community vision, right? Discuss these with the community, come to a consensus, or as close to a consensus as possible, and start thinking about which direction you want to pursue, right? So this is George saying, look, we're gonna start with the vision, and he's asking you all to sort of come together and come up with, this list. He's also asking that for council to have an open, as he put it, open and honest discussion about the state of their finances, revenues versus expenditures. And he also mentions that there are these peer mentoring assistant services that they have. If you remember, he mentioned this. They have one for Jenna, matter of fact, for borough secretaries who just find themselves into a job and they really don't know a lot of this stuff. They actually have a peer mentor who can come out and help with you, come out once a month, check in on you. You can use that person as a resource. So that's something that in particular that he mentioned. And of course, there's the strategic management planning program, which require a council resolution to participate. That's a biggie there. That's where it's a 50-50 match of the grants, possibly lower depending on your finances, but that's usually a several-year process. And then there's the financial health assessment that Stephanie talked about. That's her world. I think it was her world, where they do just to take a look at your finances and your overall municipal financial situation, the health of it, right? That just requires a letter of intent for them. So these are all things that George is ready to work on, right? And I threw my hat in the ring, and I just want to throw that out there to get your consent on this. He said he could easily work with Jenna as the borough secretary to run point on a lot of this stuff. And I said, in a phone call, I said, hey, I'd be willing to do that too. He says, look, if council is okay with that, that'd be great. So it could be you and me who are running point on George's efforts here, okay? So if that's okay with you guys, I can work with George on that.
I think that's a good idea because if they can get us some grants, that'd be awesome.
What came up at our last meeting was this whole cell tower thing. I'm just gonna throw this out there. I did a little bit of research on that. Apparently, Joe, you may know this. So apparently, the Federal Communications Act says that municipalities cannot stop a cell tower being built. Zoning still applies.
Right, you can't stop it, but you can regulate it.
Regulate it, right. So that was a question we had, like, how do we deal with this? Yeah, so if someone wants to build a cell tower, as long as they follow these regulations, there's no stopping.
It's pretty much true of any legitimate business or endeavor that somebody has, okay? And many years ago, I remember when the county built the new jail, it was like, wow, we don't want the jail here, we don't want the jail here. You can't really say, you can't have a zoning ordinance that says there shall be no prisons or jails within the community, okay? But you can regulate it and narrow down where you can put it, so.
But not in my backyard,
Yeah.
principally, yeah. So I just wanted to pass that on here. I want to bring this up about the cable television franchise fee. We're 5 years into our cable contract, started in 20, ends in 2030. I just happened to come across this and looking through the minutes. So in 20, the contract was due with Comcast. So what this is, you know what this is, the fee?
Mhm.
So on the gross receipts, so they remit 3% a year. So the solicitor at the time said, well, the contract looks okay, but I don't know why you guys are getting 3%. All the municipalities around are getting 5%. Now, not everyone are, right? I checked, but a lot of them are getting 5%. In fact, the federal law says that you could get up to 5%, right? So at that meeting in July of 2020, Pat says, well, I'll ask them, we'll see if we can go to 5%. There were a few other questions of whether this applies to they didn't have streaming back then, really, but computer services, internet services and stuff like that. Well, there was never any follow-up on that. I got a copy of that contract. It was signed off. Bill, you signed it off in September of 20. It was actually put into effect in November of 20. So we're 5 years into this. So the 3% that we negotiated gives us X amount of money. Had we negotiated 5%, right now, we would have had an extra an extra $31,400 in our general fund over the past 5 years. If we had just renegotiated from 3 to 5%, that's $7,800 a year. So over the life of the contract, because we didn't negotiate the 5%, we're losing out on $78,000.
So we still got another 5 years to go, or what?
Well, this is something that I'm probably going to make a formal recommendation to you guys. Open up the contract. Just ask Comcast to open up the contract and see, because there's a clause in there that says that you can, right? Section 13.6 modification clause says that if you want to open it up, discuss it. If you can change that to 5%. In my understanding, that doesn't come out of Comcast's dime because they bill the citizens.
I was just gonna say, so
that raises the
that,
cost.
we're all gonna pay more so that we can get more back.
Well, it's a way to get revenue that you're entitled to, right? That's $78,000, a lot of money over a 10-year period. But, so yeah, I mean, if you could get in there and you could renegotiate this, well, that's more revenue that you have. Right? It's a pass-through.
And that was why we didn't do that last time, because we didn't want to put a more burden on citizens.
Well, let me
To
tell you,
have them to pay the extra money. That's why we stayed at the 3.
this month I paid, my fee was 97 cents. That's not a big burden.
I'm
The month before
just
that
saying,
was
we didn't look at the dollars and cents. We just didn't want to add any more cost, which is why we didn't.
Well, there was no discussion about this in the borough minutes, and that really concerns me, that should have been sort of discussed publicly, up or down, tabled, whatever. But it was just silence, right? So I think the citizens were disadvantaged over that, kept in the dark over that. But moving forward, this is the kind of stuff that should be open and in the light for publics, to be aware of, right? And give you the feedback of whether, this should be appropriate or not, right? But I think you can, Joe, right? You could probably open up this contract again and see.
I'd have to look at the terms of the contract.
Yeah.
Without looking at it, without saying that provision's in there, or ordinary, you can't, contract's a contract until the end of the term. But if you're saying you looked at it already.
If both parties agree.
If both parties agree, yeah.
If one doesn't, then you can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
You gotta wait till another 5 years, right? Anyways, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. That's one of those revenue, budgetary, financial things that we really need to get more on top of moving forward. Right, we talked about this at our meeting. Our budget, we really don't know what the hell's in our budget. Matter of fact, almost every year, we're under budgeting what we think we actually bring in. By doing so, we're leaving money on the table. We're not spending money on services that we need because we don't think we have enough money. But in reality, we do have enough money. But that's a question to really get into the weeds over. But in principle, yeah. So that's that. I want to get your permission on something here. We have an opportunity to apply for a historical and archival records care grant. And what that is, comes from the State Historical Society, Museum Commission, and they give monies to municipalities to get their records in order, like if you have photographs, documents and stuff that you want to preserve, right, there's money for that, right? So we have some folks who are willing to apply for this grant, but I just wanted to run it by you guys to see if there's no matching obligations here or anything, either get it or you don't. But if that's something that you think is permissible.
Who's gonna do it?
Sue and Janet Pico are interested in applying.
I say we go for it then, if it's not costing us anything and you guys want something to do.
Just more gray hair on my head.
I think it's anywhere from 500 to a couple thousand.
Yeah, it's a competitive grant, so, you know, it's like competition.
Yeah.
I'm not competitive, but I'm gonna do the webinar on the 17th. I'm not a computer person. Janet might be better at that. I'm gonna do the webinar just to find out what it entails, because I don't have any idea. Never did a grant application before.
This would probably help us in our effort to get our municipal records policy and process in order. That's an SOG that we're working on there.
It would also be good experience for Janet and for me to do this. It's like a practice run. If we get the grant, great. If we don't, we know kind of how this works. She does, I don't, so it's good practice.
Perfect, let's go
Good.
for it.
Okay.
I like it. How do we continue on with that?
You should have a copy of this. This is the latest listing of the SOGs that are in development here. What I added from the meeting a week ago was who might be responsible for these. The official or the committee would be the point persons for this stuff. So you could probably see your name on a lot of this stuff. Eli, of course, you're emergency management, and Bob, you're on point with all the council stuff, and Bill, you're on a lot of stuff with streets and sewers and
So I said, I didn't know if I got that.
so we're gonna continue to
That's
move.
something you sent out, Kevin?
There's a couple right there.
Oh,
Yeah. This
say I
is,
didn't get it.
this is online, actually, this is online,
Thank you.
with hyperlinks to the documents, right, as they're developing there. So stay tuned for that. So we're moving that a little bit forward. And for our legislative agenda, so tonight on the docket here, we have three things. We're very excited to have these resolutions on the table tonight. And next month, we're going to ask, we're going to call on you to approve a resolution directing the creation of a municipal budget and appropriations policy. I guess that would be your wheelhouse, Justin, as budget and finance. Also, we're going to call on you to approve a resolution directing the creation of a municipal officials onboarding and offboarding policy. That's HR terminology. It's terrible wording, right? I don't know how else you word it. In other words, so when new officials come on board, what's the process, right? Orientation, training, keys, right? So there should be a checklist, right? One of those things, I just saw that thing in Borough News, and I went back to the SOG and development, and I was like, oh, the NIM stuff. So right there for new people, you know, suggesting that you'll have your NIMs completed by the first month, right, in office. And also when you leave, right? What's the checklist? Your keys, your passwords get changed, credentials, right, get handled. Exit interview is always probably a good thing, that sort of stuff. So, and then also, we're gonna ask that you approve a resolution directing the creation of a public meeting and rules of decorum policy. Now, these are just putting into motion the process to develop these policies, right? Because some of this stuff's gonna take a little bit of time, some deliberation, to figure out like what exactly should this form look like for everybody, right? So it's, you know, pull up your file, Bob, and it should list, you know, all the training that you've had, whether you were issued keys, you know, that sort of stuff, right? Kind of basic administrative 101 stuff, right? Which we don't do, right? That I'm aware of, right?
It gets done.
Okay, so, yeah, that's it.
Okay, thanks. All right, is there anybody, yeah, we already went through all that. Let's go to old business. Streets, bridges, lighting, Jake.
So Brian has been working on a list. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different locations marked out that we're gonna take a look at, create a bid for Widmer so that they can start sending people up here, I guess. Or we can even start, getting in touch with some of these smaller companies to see if they can come out and patch for us. So that's done. There may be some added, there may be some taken out, just depending on the cost. This month, I personally responded to 2 trees that were down, emergency situations. Whether our guys were sleeping or whatever. I'm not saying Brad was sleeping, he's good, but I'm closer sometimes, so we just handle him. We got the trash picked up from the Earth Day. Special thanks to the guys over there at, the volunteers of West.
Yeah, you guys did a great job cleaning up trash.
Um,
I would have helped you, but I was out of town. But I did help clean up the bags. The chin's filled.
Also, under old business, the truck is fixed and it is back here, correct? We did get it back,
That's the one with the
the turbo issue.
turbo issue.
So that ended up being a crankcase filter, is that correct? Something that we didn't even know existed. So it was all
Another good
plugged
idea
up.
from Chevy.
Ford.
Ford, that's what I meant.
Yeah. So instead of spending an astronomical amount of money, we got lucky, and I think we spent what, 600 something bucks? Yeah, so we got lucky. Craig Street Alley was resurfaced again.
That's the north side, or the south side,
Yeah, sure.
of 37th Street.
South side, and then they also hit a couple other alleys while they were at it. We are flying through gravel with all this rain. Sorry, I don't know if it's affecting the budget or not, but
It's not that bad.
we're, what did we get, 4 triaxle loads of gravel?
6.
6. Yeah.
3 of big stuff.
Wash it off that.
It's gonna continue growing as the year goes on. It is what it is. Brian and Gerald, or maybe just Brian, I'm not
Roses,
sure.
they look nice. You guys did a good job with them.
He dug out the far side closest to Harbison. Yeah. The side going down towards Harbison, dug a trench along there and backfilled that into some big stone, so hopefully that'll prevent more erosion. We'll see what happens, we're working on it. The grass is all getting cut. I guess now's a good time. I'll come back to it at Parks and Recreation. Ryan,
I didn't know what got 2 loads today.
do you have any,
Yeah.
Brian, do you have any old business? Anything that you guys wanna talk about that you've done in the last month?
Did some boom mowing and
Yeah.
Yeah, we are gonna be
Harbison, that
doing,
looked
you're
good.
gonna start seeing the boom
Rock.
mower out a little bit more.
boom mowed down the rock.
Machine's running good. Anything else?
Just keep the park
Just-
cut.
Yeah, keeping the park cut. That's like a full-time job down there. The grass is growing.
Yeah, rain like doesn't make that happen.
Yep. Awesome.
I have that same problem in my house.
Remove the huge trees in the creek.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of trees down recently, so if the citizens would, keep your eyes peeled. If you see something that looks dangerous, report it. Let one of us know, and we'll try and get it taken care of as quick as possible. No one wants to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and drive through the fog to cut up trees on the side of a road. It's not fun, but we'll do it if we have to. Also, if you have dead trees in your yard, cut the dang things. There are so many people that have dead trees in their yards around us. And I mean, they are beyond dead. You know it's gonna fall down. Cut it. So
One fell on Jeremy's truck yesterday on Harbison. But
it was
hit the-
super
Hit
dead.
the bed, and it had a diamond plate on the corner. It hit the corner, big old chunk went in the truck, and
It blocked the entire
it
road off.
just shattered all over the place. Jake cut that up real quick. Didn't put a mark on the truck.
There was another one on
Somehow.
Rock Avenue. It was this big around and it was, again, super dead. Holes all through it. It's been dead for probably 8 years. It was gonna fall eventually. Well, it did. And just know that you're running the risk. If somebody gets hurt, you know, that's on, like, I don't know if it's on you, but it's your property, you know? Be polite to your neighbors and don't let them get hit by falling trees. That's all I got for that.
Thanks, Jake. Ryan, fire and police.
All good.
All good in the hood. Sewers and sanitation.
All right, first thing I had down in here was property repair. Brian, I don't know whether you guys, back in the summer when we tore up that fence, that lady's property on the alley, you went down and fixed the fence and everything.
Yeah, we fixed the fence.
Did we ever fix the ground to repatch it?
I don't think we did yet.
Okay, well, we need to finish that up.
Okay.
Put that on the list, Brian, and also right there at 37th Street next to the mayor's house where we dug, have Gerald run the rake across that. And if you have to, pick up a bag of grass.
I was wondering about that hill there.
Yeah.
Going to finish that.
See what you can do to tidy that up a little bit.
Okay.
Are you gonna talk about street paving at all?
I'll let you handle it if you want it.
I don't know, you guys went and did this,
So-
I just saw this.
Yeah, I mean, I can talk about it if you want me to.
Yeah, cause I don't know anything about this.
Yes, that's the list that I told you Brian's been working on.
Okay.
There's dimensions on there, so let me see it real quick. I'll go over it real fast. So, 43rd Street, 173 foot long, 18.2 wide. West Fifth, there's a spot, well, there's actually 3 different spots on West Fifth. 88 foot, 69 foot, and 25 foot. Like I said, we're gonna be doing patches.
What
like,
location is that?
what's that?
I mean, West Fifth,
They're
have a
marked.
house number?
Well, we don't have a house number, but you'll see on the road, they're actually marked with the spray paint, so
Okay.
they'll have an idea
There's
of
some
where
of
they're
them I
at.
put on there, like in front of the water tank or
Alright.
some addresses on there.
Yeah, cause we gotta have a way of marking them, if you got them marked, that's good.
Yeah. Harbison, there's a section on there that's 100 foot long. Most people are aware of where these issues are, where the road's falling apart. Short Street in Harbison, another section that's 36 foot long. 23 foot of West 9th, 38 foot of West 7th, and 1,531 foot going down Bowden. Everybody knows if you come down Bowden, that whole section of the road's coming apart.
Just down below Tom's or?
Yep.
And
And now,
that goes bad there all the time.
I don't know.
Cause we're constantly fixing it.
I know.
It never dries out, does
It
it?
I
never-
was gonna say, we need to do some drainage work or something?
Well, it's all the trees, it always stays wet. It's
No
always
sun.
No sun. It's always wet there. If you didn't hear your street or whatever on the list, those are a lot of the stuff's the smaller stuff that these guys can handle. What I mentioned above, we're talking 88 foot or 69 foot. I'm not gonna send the guys out there with a 2 foot milling machine to go mill 100 or 1,531 feet of road. We simply can't do that. But generally, that's what we're after this year.
So you're going the whole way across, you're not strip paving anywhere,
No.
so you're doing the whole road width.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just trying to get a feel for what
There's
you
a
got here.
couple places on there that's only the one side of the road.
14 foot, 11 foot, 12 foot, 18 foot, 9 foot,
yep, so that's a section of the road,
that's the width.
yep,
But some of these roads aren't much more than that wide.
right.
That's Harvard, so that should go 12 foot, 16 foot. 16 foot wide, that's pretty big. 8 foot and 8 foot. All right, what I'll do is I have a program that I put together last year. I don't know what I did with it, thought I had that right
The
here.
good, bad, the ugly.
No, but I put in the determined footage and square foot and
Oh,
see
okay,
what it
yep.
cost, what we paid last year
Yep.
versus what all this is. Cause I'll be honest with you, I don't think you're gonna get half of this,
I know, I already know.
you know? So I'll do that and I'll get back with you
And then we'll go after.
and say which ones do you guys think is priority and,
Yeah,
because we only, what we budget for this year,
50.
50? Yeah, you're not gonna get much done at all for 50. But we need to do at least 100.
Well, we're hopeful that the prices come down versus the way, here's the way I'm looking at this though, Bill.
I think so too.
We're not paying, before we were only getting one bid. And that very well could have been the highest bid, because nobody else wanted to compete with them. Now we're opening up a competition, basically. A lot more people can handle this style of working than one big company.
Yeah. And they can come in and do little hits and misses where they're overwhelmed with a full long run.
I'm kind of hoping that this will kind of open up a couple doors for us and maybe we can get it done a little bit more affordably. It's hard to say. We'll never know until we try.
I'll put together all the government, I'll come back with you and we'll sit down and determine how we wanna chase this.
Yep.
Because I think we can put it all out there
Okay.
and ask for each individual price.
Yep. Yep.
So then we can go back and say, okay, we can't afford to do this one. Because here's one. 1,531 feet. That's a whole road. You might get that, and that's it. That's huge. I don't think we did anything that big last year. That long.
It's a big section.
That's from the bottom of the hill to the top of it.
That's both. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We've dumped so much money into
I
that
know
road
that.
over the years.
The only problem we have is if we don't do anything with it, it's gonna become an unusable road.
Yeah,
Very soon.
yeah. And that's the issue with all of them. We don't do something with them.
I'm starting to find myself driving around that, just going straight down 37th Street at this point. It's just getting rough.
Okay.
We had to, after we did that road, we did the whole road. And it was either the next year or the year after, we had to put more money into that road.
Uh-huh.
And it's just nonstop with that
That's
road.
what I said, we're.
Everybody else
all
is
the time.
suffering and that road keeps getting all the money.
Yeah, and really, after Tom, there's nobody there till the vets club. Okay. So I'll get back with you on that in a few days.
We may have to think about that someday, closing that, making everybody go around. I don't know, hate to do it, but, you know, it'd be nice to get some of the other roads taken care of. But that's down the
We
road.
need the other roads taken care of, they're more traveled. Get the most of your buck. Okay, so that took care of this paving thing that I had on here. The sewer update, I'm still waiting on True Plumbing. He told me he's got all the pipe in the yard and he wants it out of there, he wants to do the job. But he keeps getting jobs popping in on him, so he's trying to fit us in. If you don't wanna do it, we can tell him forget it, but he's already got the pipe up, so I'm sure he's gonna wanna charge us for it. However, keep in mind, the reason he bid this so low, that he's barely making any money off of it at all. And the other bids that came in were many thousands of dollars more.
Well, he might have done that because we paved his road.
Well, this was before we paid the road.
Oh, okay.
He agreed, he gave me the bid, I can't remember, it's been a while. I might be wrong at that too. Either way, I'm kinda waiting on him to tell me he's ready. Cause one time he told me he was gonna do it, next time he said, oh, I gotta wait a little bit. So, but he told me he got the pipe in his yard down there at the shop, he said, I want it out of there, it's in my way. Whatever you wanna do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't complain, come up and get rid of it.
Okay, is that it?
I believe under old business, probably take care. Can't think of any other stores. We got the store issue with Ryan, was that last month or this month?
Last one.
We mentioned that last month?
Mhm.
Okay. I think that was the last major store issue I had. Other than your place.
You better start knocking on wood.
Whatever, yeah, I know. Whatever became of that down there, you wanna elaborate on that?
DEP came down, they said as long as he's working on it, there's nothing that they can do. Sounds to me like there's nothing anybody can do about it.
What was that?
Whenever, I got
Hillside
flooded.
stuff was still coming into his yard apparently?
So the problem that they
Running
have
into
is
the creek?
I spoke with Ray and Ray said, listen, it's old manholes, they're all old brick. Half of, a lot of them are not sticking anymore, they're just kind of falling in. He did say that it is in need of repairs and the stuff needs to get taken care of, but there's no timeline on it, like, When it happens, it happens.
Last month, I said I was gonna call the DEP and talk to them, but then there were 2 or 3 other people
Mhm.
ran ahead and did it, so I didn't, because I talked to you
I think they
about
got upset about that,
about what?
about
Multiple calls?
being contacted about it.
Yeah, that's why I didn't wanna follow up on it.
Yeah.
Because other people already had.
I don't like to poke the bear or anything, but it doesn't sound like the bear really bites, so.
Well, yeah, that's just what I wanna do. If you remember who you talked to,
I do, I have his contact
if I
information.
could get that from you, I will call them again and say, hey, we're still having issues down here. This is still coming into your yard, correct?
Hit or miss, like, here's the thing.
If it's hit, it's hit.
Well, there's no way to stop it. It's a brick falls down, it starts to overflow. I make a phone call, Ray goes up there and fixes it. DEP does not care.
Yeah, they're not gonna care about that.
And that's what's gonna continue to happen until they get their sewer systems fixed up.
But this is still coming down through your yard and
Right
flowing
now,
into the creek.
it hasn't been. It's been, as far as Ray says, it's completely stopped. Anything that's running down there is groundwater at this point.
Okay.
So,
Well, then, do I need to call DEP?
no,
Just
there's
let them
no
go?
point.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm staying in contact with
I
them.
offered to do it, but if you don't think it's
not gonna
be
do
of
anything.
advantage to us.
It's not gonna be any advantage.
Okay, I won't.
He said that, the rules and the laws don't really help with that
Yeah,
stuff
I
as long
find
as
that hard to
somebody's
believe.
helping. I really thought it was crazy too. I thought for
Yeah.
sure that they'd be all over
That
it.
they can allow that to go into the streams and,
Nope.
don't worry about it, it's okay.
No, and as far as notifying people, it's not a requirement.
That's
So,
what I'm
like-
saying, that's what I was told when you guys checked on it, said that's not a requirement.
Yeah, he said it is not required to let anybody know. That's based off of, council's decision. If you wanna let people know, let them know. If you don't wanna let them know, don't.
It
let
is
them
a
know.
requirement.
Well, I'm just telling you what the DEP man told me.
Well, this is fun and games until, someone files a lawsuit. The Clean Water Act requires, when you have a sanitary sewer overflow, it's required to report it to the authorities.
Kevin, I'm telling you what the man told
I'm
me.
just saying, like Jake,
We
but
reported to the
you-
DEP, which is.
I am not the DEP. I have no jurisdiction over the DEP.
Correct, I gotcha. So we're working on a sanitary sewer overflow response plan. Other municipalities have such a thing. It's a real thing. So when all that sewer water was flowed into the creek, right, potentially biohazard situation, right? I mean, your kids are down there playing in that creek, who knew, right? This would at least cover your base as a municipality, right, when something like this happens. DEP, right, do you wanna sue DEP for dealing with that stuff? Sue White Township? Wouldn't be the first time West Mayfield sued White Township, although it's been since the 20s. But,
Yeah.
you have to protect the citizens and the environment,
And
right?
I mean, I feel like we were pretty proactive as far as that goes. I'm not gonna mail everybody a letter unless council wants to mail everybody a letter, but.
Well, I was talking about putting signs up for a while.
Yeah.
There was a public notice went up on the website, right,
Yeah.
which you guys directed me to do, did that. And then it was all clear, took that down, or made a notice that it was all
Yeah.
clear. That's the best that you
But-
can do, I think.
And here's the thing too, there's so much contamination going into all of our creeks. That's the way creeks are. If you go down to, and even like Brian's house, you still have a septic, correct? Or is there a septic
Yeah, one of
system
them
back
down
there?
there, septics.
When we have this amount of rain, and this is basically the way DEP man told me. He said, Jake, when you have this amount of rain, everyone's septic is overflowing. And where do you think that water's going? It's going into our creeks and it's going into our streams.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things.
This wasn't just a minor overflow, this was a massive.
It really was, but I mean, depending on where you're at, if you go down to Brady's Run per se, almost everything that runs around Brady's Run, that is overflowing septics probably 3 months out of the year, the entire time. So think about how many times your kids have played down at Brady's Run and have been in the creek. It's just the chance that you
They
take.
do post signs about E. coli.
They do. They
Yeah.
close the lake.
Yeah, well, I always see like on the water fountains, there's a risk of E. coli, but I never seen any other signs on the creek.
I mean, obviously, we live in the real world, right? And nothing's perfect. So, but there are things that we can do, like when you had that gush
Yeah.
of sewer water coming down, and that went in, that was clearly an issue with that creek, which, runs through our park where the kids were playing. I think we could do better by addressing this with a policy moving forward, right?
Sure.
So this stuff, at least we can alert the public to make the decision, you know.
Even if we can get like, not disposable signs, but signs that can be put up and taken down,
Right.
kind of like, you know, sharks in the area.
Sure.
When you go to the beach or whatever. Jellyfish.
Watch out for Jake.
Yeah, watch out for poop.
All right, let's move on.
That's all I have, Bob, thank you.
All right, thanks, Bill. Finance and litigation, Justin.
Yeah, so excuse me if I am using the wrong terminology and stuff. Super new to this, didn't want to waste like the first meeting, but I've been working with the Citizens Advisory Committee for a couple months, and a couple of the things that we've always kind of put on to council to do is to do a resolution for an annual appointment of an independent auditor, which we technically already do, just not by resolution, according to Borough Code.
Yeah, we already doing an independent audit, right? We're already doing an independent audit.
Yeah, so we're doing it, but
Technically, you're supposed to do it every year, or you're at,
yeah, appoint every year according to Borough Code by
resolution.
Every year?
resolution.
No, you don't.
You have to have a resolution for it every year.
Oh, you have to pass a new resolution.
In 20, you did it, you passed a motion, there was no mention, you didn't do it in 21, didn't do it in 22, didn't do it in 23, and you did it by motion, Bob, you made the motion in 24 to appoint Cottrell as independent auditor. So you're not doing it every year, and you're not doing it by resolution.
Yeah, we're not doing a resolution, but we are doing the audit.
yeah.
Yeah,
You have an auditor.
Yeah.
Yeah, the question isn't whether you don't have an auditor, you do, right?
just to follow the code, right?
So
And
we need a
resolution for the annual appointment of an independent auditor, which I don't know if you have this.
so we need a motion for me to sign this paper.
I make the motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? Opposed?
Right on, Henry.
There we go.
So is that gonna come up at the same time every year?
It'll be the same time every year.
So that's what I'm saying, because the audit usually happens when,
The beginning of the year.
beginning of the year.
Yeah, he picks everything up in February and
Well, you have to do it, Borough Code, you have to do it within the year, appoint the auditor within the year of the audit, right?
But that's what I'm asking.
So,
Do we need to do this every November? Pass the resolution to have an auditor.
Or we just passed it this for next year?
well, if you do it in January, make a resolution appointing Cottrell or whomever,
Or
right?
in the reorder.
That would cover you for, say you did it next January
That would be
26th.
for the current year, not the
That would-
past year.
That would cover you for 26.
Yep.
The auditor you choose
we'll
for
just
the
do it in
year
January of
26.
every
So
year.
this one's for this year, and then, or this is just
Well,
saying
This
that
is
we're
just
gonna
saying
do
we're
it.
doing it.
Okay,
Yeah.
This is the policy statement here.
gotcha. Okay,
So this is to cover us for the audit for this coming year.
this is just to cover us.
In next
To say
January,
that we,
next January.
to do it
Next
next
year,
year.
we'll do another one, like a resolution to.
just so I understand.
But you still should make the resolution to appoint Cottrell if you want to do it for this year, 25. You don't have to do it now, you could do that till the end of the year, really. to
Well,
do
we
it.
already did it though.
Now, they did 24's audit.
You
What did I
24.
do? What did I do at the beginning of the year?
You made a motion that it would get done
Okay,
by then, but you need a resolution.
okay.
Yeah, you didn't make a, you
You
didn't,
know, more regulations.
you didn't appoint them
I'm
this,
trying to
appoint them
deregulate,
this
I'm
year.
trying to overregulate.
You did 24,
Continue.
not this year.
And then the only other one was basically something that we currently already do. Jenna basically takes care of is the appointment of an official open records officer, so by resolution. So just making sure that, you know, if there's any document that's needed, and then this person would be registered.
Well, who's gonna do that?
Jenna technically already does it right now, so
But should she be doing it, that's my question.
that
She's
would
the
She-
secretary, yeah.
Is she,
I have all the information, so it's just.
I know, you're gonna be the one gonna dig it out.
Yeah. at
that
end
would
of
be the
day,
conversation. I think this
That's what I'm saying, it should
resolution
be a
is
council
more of
person that's
a,
in charge of it, saying,
we're
okay, Jenny, go,
appointing someone.
this has been approved.
So we're officially.
Get you out from
appointing
underneath
Jenna
that.
as that person.
Thing is,
I don't know if the
when you did,
resolution.
you not been Benny since you became secretary? Because it's a very short period of time to respond, which you can ask for an extension. But, so that's why it might be difficult if you had a councilman doing it, because a little easier. That's where most municipalities this size normally would be the
Well, if we're
secretary.
gonna keep dumping stuff on Jenna, we need to give Jenna a raise.
I was just saying that.
I'm not saying you shouldn't do that.
I'm just saying, that's not what she signed on for, and we're adding
Right.
more and more and more stuff. I mean, she's doing parks, and she shouldn't be doing parks.
I'm not the parks anymore.
I think we
I'm not
still
doing
need
that.
to.
Oh, okay.
She's just jumping in every time she can to help.
Well, I understand
And
that.
she's gonna get a raise.
I still think we need to, have one, right? That because all the other boroughs, I think maybe 5 of them don't have someone appointed, but everyone around us does.
Oh, you
And she's,
you need an open
yeah,
records.
and she's already doing it, so it's,
I just wanna make sure she's the right person.
Can I make the
think-
motion?
I think it's just easier for me to do it. I'm already doing it. I know what it is. I just need to be appointed.
Jenna, I make the motion.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I can sign it.
Can I, Bob, are you signing that resolution?
Yeah?
Okay, so about that resolution, I mean, if you want to amend that resolution, because it doesn't actually say, appoint somebody. But that's a policy resolution that says, now, 20 years from now, this will be the policy of the borough. Hopefully Jenna's still with us, but she's not. So you know that you have to appoint somebody to be
Just
the
create
That must just be my next question.
Yeah,
Does this have to be done yearly?
no,
No, as long as
you just have to have
I'm-
somebody.
Well, I'm not sure, because, not something we ever did in the past. We did write the nose, but we didn't have to specify the
You
person.
would, at the very least, somewhere along the line, someone would have made a motion to designate Pat, like when she was there as the open records officer, to respond to all those
I don't know if they ever
requests.
did that or not, to be honest with you.
So the second part of
I
that
know she was
resolution
doing it.
She was doing this, I assume that was done.
that resolution says that, yes, that council does need to appoint an AORO. That AOR needs to be reported to Office of Open Records, so it's in their system. And that there's also a requirement, this is Sunshine Act, or right to know law, I'm sorry. There's a requirement that the borough come up with a right to know law policy. Basically, that's the schedule of fees. That's part of it anyways. And so that's what that resolution calls for, to create that policy as well as to go ahead and appoint somebody. I mean, it doesn't preclude you from designating Jenna, of course, but.
I don't know what kind of money that would bring in.
It doesn't bring in, you can't charge for the actual gathering the documents, you can charge for the copies.
Copies.
Yeah, so whatever that's what those fees would be.
So what are we talking?
$3 a copy, Bill.
That's what I'm asking, what are we talking? Is it $3? Whatever. I mean,
Has to be.
that can be turned back into the borough, or that can just be her,
What's George charge up in Chippewa? It's about a copy.
I have no idea, or that can just go to her for doing it.
Sorry, I couldn't go
No,
there.
just the,
Let's go to the borough.
Office of Open Records they have a suggested schedule of fees for these things. So that's why, this can be taken care of later. If you say by this resolution, all right, we're gonna do this, and then you can figure out what that schedule of fees will be,
So
and
we'll
whatever else.
figure that out.
Can we name a
With the
position like we
appointment as
just
well.
say in that resolution, that the borough secretary is the records officer? Not necessarily say Jenna's name.
Okay, yeah.
Is that
You
legal?
have to have a
Our
person-
next secretary.
you have to have a person named to the office.
So every year you're gonna have to rename it.
No, not every year. You just have to name somebody. If that person leaves or dies or whatever, you have to replace that with a real person. Because it's actually in the Borough News, in that Q&A, it says that there must be the person named with their contact information, their email, their address.
But our resolution just says the borough secretary, whoever that person's name
It
is.
can't be a position, it's gotta be a
He
person.
wants a
That
name.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have to
Can we
change
name
it
it
for the
now?
next one then, or what do we have to do?
So from my understanding, this is us actually doing it, like we're going to do it, and so the next
the
meeting.
next meeting, there
yeah.
will be one that's made
Yeah.
with my name that I'm appointed.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I'll take care of that.
Is that it for old?
That's it, that's all I.
Okay, ordinance. It says none, but I have something on, that I got on, one of my other. What do I
Doing
have?
ordinances.
What's that?
Who is doing ordinances? That's
Well-
Jeff's problem.
You are.
I am. But she's helping.
I'm not on
But I was
council.
on
You
the
are.
committee, that's why I wasn't sure who the
Yeah.
other person was.
You want to
Yeah,
deal?
I am doing the ordinances.
Can't.
Is that on that, was that on the new,
I don't know.
You have to spit out what you're thinking, so
the new
Wants to know
contact?
what's on the contact list.
Okay, anyways, we've been working on, Tina's been working on it mostly. That would be an ordinance, right, for the landlord thing?
right. The thing that I emailed Jenna, or you emailed Jenna, and then I don't know if she sent it out to anybody to
Do you
look it
wanna
over.
go over it real quick?
I don't have, well, basically, it's what we had talked about before, about adopting the landlord fees, you know, and getting permits. And I snagged a copy and I sent it to her and hoped it would go to everybody so they can kind of look it over. Gave a copy to Joe and to look it over, you know, and make any type of revisions if you think. I thought it seemed like everybody was on board with trying to get these extra fees out of landlords. I mean, there's a stack of them, that I,
Basically, it's gonna cost $25 a year. So that should bring in, I was trying to figure it out the other night,
Not everybody, it's just landlords.
landlords, yeah,
it's landlords.
Right.
It's people who own the property that rent it out. They don't live
don't
in
live
that.
there.
So it could be multiple, like these apartments,
Yep,
you
any
know,
landlords.
anything that has different, like, if you read that, you know, like, there's, for example, there's different fees for having multi-units, different fees for apartments. But they're also, even according to our zoning, like, and that's where I hand wrote in a little notes a couple places, our zoning requires us to issue a new occupancy permit every time there is a new tenant or a new owner, not just a new owner, but a new tenant. So that way it can get checked to make sure that nobody stripped out all the plumbing or stripped out all the electric or something, you know, that is not livable. But we don't have anything right now to keep track because landlords don't update us and let us know because we don't have that in our ordinance, you know? It also talks about the 3-strike rule that's in that. So in a year, if the police have to go to an establishment and there's a problem more than 3 times, the landlord is forced to have to evict them, you know? There's probably a long issue
What's
of
an issue though? Does it
well,
specify what an issue is?
say, well, if the police are called,
Yeah.
if the police are called to a place and then something happens, you know, like whether, like there was a shooting up there, or they're arrested for guns or drugs, or I don't know why police go to homes, but you know, they don't come to my house. They don't come to my house. So, but if there's an issue and they're for over a year time frame, you know, I mean,
It gives us a way to
grounds
evict
to
them.
say, hey,
Evict the
you
problem
can't have these people here any longer.
You guys have
I mean-
that calls, don't you?
You do, but there's limitations.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Right.
saying, there
You
needs to
can't
be
go
some
to a
kind of
house where
guideline.
there's a victim of domestic violence and evict that person
Yeah,
based on that. I mean, there's some things that are not gonna work.
Instead of finding out like my
Right.
neighbor, I call you 3 times and he's gone.
well, that, and then, and again, the police would have to give us the report that, hey, this house had this, you gotta keep track of it, blah, 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 you know? But you have to decide whether or not you wanna do this or not, to where then, if we do, we need to get the ordinance ready to roll. We need to get a letter, which there was a sample of a letter that I attached to that email, you know, to let the landlords know. I have 3 pages here that I went through and got all these names of ones that I know are for sure landlords.
Everybody is on
Is this the
board.
one that you sent me a while
No,
back?
it's, mm-hmm,
Okay, cause I had issues
I know.
with some of that stuff and I was gonna talk to you about it, but we never got together.
I know,
This
but
could bring
you
in
guys all have
$2,000 to
copies.
$3,000 a year into the borough,
Nobody has
so,
a problem with that.
just for the landlord fees, for the
Yeah.
So,
$25.
in my opinion,
Or you-
once you guys get these copies, and then Joe looks over it also, whatever, you know, print out the page that you have an issue with, or you want to. If it was me, I wouldn't probably print the whole thing, because I've already did it twice and I've lost both copies. So, I've lost a lot of paper. But, you know, print out what you have a problem with, or you'd like to see not there, or changed, or whatever, and talk amongst yourselves, because I have nothing. You know, I'm just trying to bring something to the table.
This is what I've been trying to do for years.
Yeah,
I
well-
brought that up many years ago.
So as head of ordinances, are you going to manage that process?
Well, I don't know that,
We
Because
would
somebody
have
has to make sure that everybody gets
We would
paid.
have to work
There
with,
has to be a checkoff list, who the landlords are.
well, that's why
There has to be
like,
a checkoff list to say, have you changed your residence or your tenants?
We talked about this before and we agreed that I would take it on at the beginning of the year as long as there was a raise attached to it. We
Giving
discussed
you more
that,
work.
which is fine, as long as you give me the money.
Yeah.
I'm willing to do it as long as.
Yeah, as long as you get paid for it.
Yeah, and everybody agreed to
sure,
that. We've
and
already talked about
that's
that.
money that we could give her for a raise, you know?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to find out how it's gonna get handled.
Yeah.
It's good to make the statement, but if you don't have a way to operate and put it into place.
well, it's
It's
kind of
gonna
like
fall
gonna
through the
have to be like multiple people kind of working together a little bit, you know? Like, I can only get a list so much, and then where I need help, obviously, go to Kathy and say, hey, you know, double check, you know, or slide me any other names that might be missing, and, you know, hey, Jenna, you know, I mean, because she's gonna have to be working with us with, hey, we got a new tenant, we need to go over there and go get them, you know? I mean,
And this
How do you
gives-
know when they get a new tenant?
Well, they're supposed to tell you.
Right, here's what
They
you gotta do. You have to get an initial list of non-owner occupied properties.
Which she has.
Okay. Then you have to notify these people, once you got the ordinance in, hey, we have an ordinance, and you don't give them, the gist of it in plain language, they know what to do. I mean, I have one rental property, not in West Mayfield, I'm getting a new tenant in there, so I gotta let Beaver know that I got somebody else coming in there, okay? That's my obligation. If I don't do that, I mean, it could result in a fine and everything. But if you put people on notice, not, you know, most of the time, they'll know to, because it doesn't cost you anything.
Well, I think
just
it's a good idea, I'm just
Yeah.
trying to make sure there's some way to implement it,
So, like,
somebody managing
in
the
that
process.
in that ordinance of East Rochester, for instance, it even says, like, as a landlord, you have until, you get an initial letter, or so I get a letter that every year in January I get one, and it tells me I need to list who my tenant is, and the address, and how many people are living there, and so forth. Patterson does that, they all do it, you
And
know?
Patterson and East Rochester help them. We've talked with them and they're real easy to get information
Yeah.
out of. So if
So,
you
you know, I mean,
said, hey, how
I
am
get
I
that.
supposed to do this? They'll tell
Technically,
you.
I have until, according to East Rochester, I have until August 31st to send in my $25, you know? But, I mean,
East Rochester's, I didn't get a chance to look
Yeah,
at Patterson. East Rochester's, I thought was a pretty good ordinance.
it's very nice and simple. I had questions, we had questions over, there was that inspection thing, but after talking with you, it probably is a good idea to re-inspect every so many years, but then again, amongst yourselves, have to decide how many years. Some boroughs wanna do 3 years, some do 6 years, you know, I mean, how often do you re-inspect, even if they don't have a change of tenant? That's a thing to look at as to how
But
you
you'd
wanna
have to
do
word
that.
it, we have the right to inspect every certain amount of years. Not that
It's,
we're
it's in
going
there,
to, because
it's
that
just a
would
matter
be
of
a lot of work for
changing
me.
what you
Right.
like,
You
you
can
know?
technically, theoretically get behind and, you know, yeah.
But
But
it,
if, you know, and the big thing is, you got a problem, you got somebody that's not cutting their grass, or they got trash in the yard, that's a good way that we could go in and say, look, we're inspecting your property, and,
But that's only on rentals.
right,
Right,
correct.
that's right.
oh, yeah,
But
yeah,
that's where a lot of your problems are.
Yeah, probably.
right.
Okay.
All right, so,
So hopefully when you get the email of all those documents, you
I'm gonna be
know,
honest, Tina, I thought that when you sent it to me, you were just sending it to me, so I had it. I thought you guys were taking that on and sending it to council. Like, I was not aware that
I don't have all their emails
Okay,
and
but
stuff,
I
I'm
wasn't aware
sorry.
that, yeah, I wasn't aware
Yeah.
that I was supposed to be sending it to
It's okay.
anybody. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
like,
Just send it out and then
Yeah.
next work meeting we'll
mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
workshop.
Yeah, it's all there.
workshop.
okay,
I got something under
I,
Parks and
Jenna, I
Recreation.
was slow at sending it to you.
it's okay.
so I think that's good enough for the ordinance. So Parks and Rec, Candace,
Nothing yet.
Welcome, Candace.
Thank you.
I've been
Get
kind
something
of,
out.
What's that?
That sounds like you're gonna get something.
Yeah.
so Jenna,
I've been picking up your slack.
we've been getting a lot of rentals.
There's, yeah, I've
Candace is
gotten
doing that.
3, 4 in the past couple days
Good.
requests.
Nice.
Now,
Um,
I've got a question. Do they need to go through the website or should I, because I got somebody that texted me last night. So would it be easy just to let you know so you can block that off?
Well, yeah, so let me know for the calendar,
Yes,
but you
yeah.
don't have to do it online thing.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, the sooner you know about that stuff, the better, the faster it gets put online. That way, you're gonna run into people that are like, I always have that date. Well, if you're not on the calendar, you don't have
Right.
that date.
Like I told you when we talked, what I always did is if somebody contacted me personally, I sent a text to Kevin and was like, block this day. And that was all that's all Kevin needs to know is just so it's blocked. Everything
Okay.
else is on you. Like I told you, that's it.
Myself and Jenna will be on your like emergency contact list, so if you run into an issue or something happens, don't hesitate, reach out and one of us will help you out.
And I also put, extra keys here for council if anybody needs to go down there for any reason. There's an extra key for the bathrooms and stuff to unlock them, but not for the electrical box, just the bathrooms.
Okay.
Do you know to tell them not to use our grill? We have
One
a,
inside the kitchen, I don't,
because they're
I
not,
don't
You don't
unlock
unlock
that.
that kitchen, so there's no access to it.
okay, good. Because that's a brand new grill.
Yeah, there's
We
no
got that
access to
for
it.
our,
We ran into issues before years past where people have cleaned that place out. We had tons of drinks taken, all kinds of stuff, so it's better to
Yeah,
just.
we don't unlock that.
okay,
We
good.
just do the bathrooms and turn the electric on.
I'm gonna get you information. I'll talk to you afterwards. I'll get your information, then I'll give you mine. And then I'm gonna give you some contacts as well. I'll help you kind of get to know everybody that you're probably gonna wanna know.
Okay,
Scott McGee and a couple of the girls down at the park, I'll get you their information.
yeah.
They'll be your go-to if you see something, say something, or if you have questions. They're usually pretty great on helping you out. Yeah, that's about it for that. I can give an update real quick on what baseball has going. I figure it kind of fits in with Parks and
That's all,
Recreation.
yeah.
So far this year, they've purchased a brand new drag system for the fields. I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the weeds have like kind of disappeared. The drag system has really helped out tremendously with that. They also purchased a brand new Polaris side by side, so that's also stored down there as well. Recently, the dugouts were all painted and the concession stand. They're gonna stay on that stuff, so it kind of looks nice, and I think they're doing a fantastic job with that. The roof on the dugout, the one that had the massive hole in it, that was just replaced as well. This is at no cost to the borough, so everybody knows your tax dollars are not going into this stuff. This is the organization doing that. And they've definitely been staying on top of the weeds. They've been spraying all the fence lines and everything, so as far as I'm concerned, they're doing a fantastic job so far. I spoke with Scott McGee last week. He reminded me, he owed us $400 for the concession fee. So again, concession fee, whatever you wanna call it, deposit, I don't know. We have it in the amount of $400. I gave that to Jenna tonight so she can cash that. That can just continue on down the line.
That was the one that was gonna be refunded every
Yes.
year and then renewed and refunded. We just decided to hold it if they were okay.
Yeah, if they're okay with us just keeping the 400 whenever,
They're rolling it over.
whatever. Yeah, so that's good and done. The contract is done. Everything's good with that. The only thing that he asked help with, they have a whole bunch of, so field 2, so the way that the field systems are laid out down there, field 1 is closest to West 3rd. Field 2 is the middle field, and field 3 is the one closest to the Vets Club. Field 2, with all the rain and everything that we've been having, they're having issues with the red rock that was put in down there by Barry years ago getting onto the field. And there's kind of a problem with that because when the kids come to slide into first base or whatever else, or third base or home, you run the risk of getting a big rock in your knee or something like that. They're requesting some help with that. Maybe we can get our borough guys, they want the borough guys to go down there and try and get that stuff out of there. So scoop it out.
Oh, they wanna remove it totally?
They want to remove it totally and replace it with that. Instead of the red rock itself, the big stuff, basically it's the top coat, it's the sand, it's the thin stuff. So that it kind of all blends in together. If we do get flooded, that stuff just kind of washes back onto the field. It's not a big deal. They're not raking it out because it's the same material. If they have to add more down the road, they can add more down the road. it's becoming a nuisance.
It'll wash out whenever, all the big rains, it'll be down the creek.
Yes, and it's expensive. That red rock, I don't remember what I paid the last time. I think it was $1,200 for a small truckload.
Put it on Facebook Marketplace, free red rock.
Well, and I
Come
mean,
pick up.
if I can get the guys to go over there and scoop it out and make a pile of it somewhere, if somebody wants to take it or use it, that's fine too. But the thing is, we don't want a bunch of random people showing up down there with
Making a
skid
mess.
steers and excavators or whatever else, turning it more into a problem. So if it's okay, I'd like to get everybody on council's permission to send the guys down sometime within the next few weeks to kind of get that stuff out of
You're
there.
not real busy.
I think that's great.
Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
So we'll add that to the list. Does anybody have anything for baseball right now? Do you guys have any information you want me to relay to them, or questions, concerns, comments?
Keep doing a great job.
Perfect.
Did you get the contract signed?
Yeah.
They had a radio station down there 2 weekends ago.
The band.
Not this break.
93.7 The Fan.
I don't
Yeah.
know. Chief, do you happen to know you have any information on the vandalism that's been going on down there?
You're talking about
Spray paint
graffiti
and
and
then
stuff?
the kid and whatever else.
I
yeah.
saw the post with the pictures and stuff, but the pictures are not.
No, they're not
quality
fantastic. They're
for
not
us to be able
great.
to identify somebody. So if the residents community recognize them, give us a lead, then that would help.
Perfect. Yeah, that's a big thing. If you guys see something, you gotta keep telling your neighbors, say something. I'm so tired of hearing about people complaining on Facebook about a certain problem, but they're also not willing to report it to the police. If the police don't know about it, then
I can say that I have a hard time thinking that it's just some random that walked into the community. That's somebody that probably resides in the community.
yeah, oh yeah.
Usually.
A few of us have an idea. Well, we know who it is, but there's nothing we can do about it unless you catch them red-handed.
I mean, not necessarily. I mean, if somebody has information on who it is, then they should provide it to the police. Then we
Okay.
can follow up on it.
I did make a report. See what happens, I guess, as the leads pop up. Problem is the kids talk to each other. They know. And when the kid runs around and brags about it,
But the problem is
Kind of
that's not,
smoking
that's
gun.
not filtering to us.
right?
The difference between like, your kid coming home and saying, hey, so-and-so said he did it,
Mhm.
and then that's where it ends, and nobody says to the police, hey, and gives us an opportunity to investigate it or talk to that person.
Right.
So,
Anything happened with the damage before? Did they ever do anything with that issue?
which damage are we talking
When the kid smashed up the fence and whatever else, like they know who that one was. I was supposed to get some
Specific
opinion.
incidents, I would say that you need to contact me so I can reference those reports. I know that there was a matter that was handled by Officer Good
Yes.
in relation to that, so there is some resolution with that.
Okay,
So,
perfect. Do I need to contact you about that, or is there like anything else we need to do?
No, I can follow up on that. I think that I have notice from Officer Good is what the resolution was, and I just speak with you about that.
Sweet. That is all I got.
Okay. I put on here discuss the cell tower inquiry. We talked about it a little bit earlier. I don't know what's going on, what we should do
I
about
haven't heard
that.
back from them as of yet. I haven't gotten any specifics, no, nothing.
Well, they sent me a thing that I sent you, I
Yeah.
guess, and Joe says what I gotta do is send it back to them saying, yes, we have all those. They wanna know if we have zoning and whatever else.
Okay.
And I'll email them back and tell them we have all that, and then we'll just see where it goes from there, I guess.
Okay.
All right. New format permits. Okay, we realized that Chris always just charged $60 for a permit. And I thought that's basically what we were doing, but we started digging into this stuff and finding out that we can be charging different fees for different stuff. So basically the $60 is just for a permit. Then we can charge like 1.25% or whatever on top of that for the work that gets done, for what they're doing. So basically, I started doing that and I gave Jenna some checks, I think about $1,100 worth of checks. So I'm starting to charge now that we figured out, but it's still a little complicated how they have it worded. One of them says $40 plus 1.50%, and another one says $60 plus whatever. There's like 3 or 4 different things that we're not quite sure about. And Kevin, I think you're working on the permit fees and stuff, right?
Well, I worked on that one thing.
Well, I have what is in the ordinances and resolutions. I have all that stuff online under the municipal schedule of fees, which you all approved a few months back. But you know, you could
But that's the same
change it.
thing as what we're doing. But like some of the stuff is, okay, are we supposed to charge the 40 or the 60? And it's 1.25 or the 150 because some of the things, it's like additions or alterations. Okay, well, you're altering it. I don't know. It's just, so basically I've been going with the 1.60 plus the 1.25. And if something looks,
Well, I made that thing, remember? And we didn't print it, so I could try to send it to.
and I got another check coming for another job that's going on over here. I stopped Denny Miller's old place. They're tearing down a porch. But see, that was like, I think that one was one of them that could have went either way with different fees. But anyways, I stopped to talk to them. She filled something out. She filled out a permit, and I told her to send a check. So that'll be another check
That's a
coming.
demo permit?
What's that?
Should you have to get a demolition permit?
I didn't charge him for a demolition permit. I don't want to kill everybody with permits like what Sonny Harvey used to do.
I know.
Because you're going to get
Well,
people
if they're
not.
replacing it, so you
'Cause-
can get them with the replacement, but if it's just a
I didn't
demolition,
think
you can
replacement
get them for
required a
just,
permit.
what's that?
I didn't think when we replaced, it didn't require, only if you alter it or
Well,
add.
if you demolish it and then
I mean,
rebuild it.
technically, I could hit them up for a demo and an excavation because they got to dig holes and for the building. But like I said, that's what Sonny Harvey used to do.
I know.
And that didn't go over well. So I'm not trying to kill you and not get you to do the work. You still want people to
Yeah, you wanna have nice
upgrade their
houses, but
houses.
you don't wanna have to penalize them for having a nice house.
Right. So anyways, that's going to be bringing in more revenue now.
Hey, Bob, I would say, because all of these fees were put in place by resolution. I believe you, Joe, correct me if you're wrong, I believe you have the authority to alter that, create a new resolution, alter the existing resolution, however, to make this fee structure however you see fit.
Right. If the ordinance says, it just says, these are the fees, and it doesn't address how you could amend it, then you're stuck having to do a whole new ordinance, just amending one little section. The better way to do it, and I think maybe most of the ordinances that say is, they'll put the fee in the initial ordinance and it'll say, this can be amended by resolution. And that way, so you don't have to advertise and do all that, go through that expense. And, but yeah, that's right.
Some of them do have a set fee in them.
Well,
I think some of them do have a set fee.
well,
That's what I'm saying, yeah, that's what's the problem then.
so our in that zone, in our ordinance, in zone R1, 2, and 3, minimum fee of $25 plus admin fees is what it says. New construction and additions, $40 plus 17 cents per square foot of the GFA, which is like the gross area footage or some stupid thing of the property. Then it says $25 plus 1.25% of estimated construction costs. Utility / miscellaneous would be things like sheds, decks, concrete slabs, retaining walls, so forth. $25 plus a 1.5% of an estimated construction cost. So if I read that right, you basically can pick a fee along with that 1.25, like on utility and miscellaneous, which would be like sheds and decks and so forth. Then you got building permits for multifamily, commercial, and industrial. There's where it gets a little tricky. Because it says new construction and additions is $60 plus 25 cents per square foot. Alterations, $40 plus 2.5% of construction costs, and demolition/excavation is $50. That's how our stuff reads.
It gets a little confusing.
You're gonna have to
A
simplify.
lot of confusion.
That's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing, I'm simplifying it.
Okay,
Pass the
simplify it.
resolution, right?
Bring it to the table next month and we'll pass it and that'll be that. What else you got?
I think that's all I have under old. Let me see here. Yeah. Joe,
Nothing.
Oh, no, you need to do the other resolution, the emergency management
oh,
operations.
we have another one.
Kevin can elaborate, but it was sent to everybody to read.
Now, this is a resolution for.
Kevin, this
Emergency
is
management,
the emergency management
operations
operations
plan.
plan. Do you wanna elaborate on it, even though it was sent to everybody, do you wanna elaborate on it a little bit so everybody knows?
Yeah, this is another policy resolution to make sure that this body agrees that this is how this issue will be handled moving forward. So this resolution calls for bringing the current EOP up to 25, right? And I think Eli said that's happening, that's great. You guys will review it, resolution to approve that. And also sets a biennial schedule of review, which I believe is standard. So it just sets a policy in motion. This is the way you're gonna handle the EOP moving forward.
Okay, I need a motion.
Eli, does county require us to do any buy-in or just annual?
I think it's a.
I think so. Is it buy-in?
Yeah.
I'm saying it was in,
Biennial every 2
because we had to update it, make sure that every year they got a new,
Yeah, the norm is really all we have to update.
yeah, all we really updates the norm. Right.
All right, I'll make the motion.
Looking for a second.
Yeah, I'll second.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Anybody opposed?
Aye.
You opposed?
Yeah.
Okay, motion stands. Right?
Sure does.
Okay. All right.
More regulations.
This is just the way it's supposed to be done and it's not being done. It's not regulations, it's the way it is
No,
supposed to be
The
done.
whole thing is all regulations.
Okay, well, this is the way it's supposed to be done, it hasn't been done that way. It's very simple.
It's in the statute.
It's in the borough code, it has to be done.
Where do we stand on the previous resolutions?
Huh?
Like the way we worked before.
Me too.
What's that, Kevin?
Where do we stand on the previous resolutions? I got a little confused on the policy of appointing annually by resolution independent auditor, and also the resolution designating an ARO and an open records policy.
That's all done.
Yeah, we're done.
Did you approve that?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
they were all done.
Am I asleep over here?
Wake up, Kevin.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Mayor,
Yeah, nothing.
Bar
Oh, we
venture.
discussed the bar venture thing. Everything's good.
Got new business or old business?
Jake, new.
Streets through the lighting negative. We're gonna continue on doing what we're doing. Again, be on the lookout for the boom mowing. That's all I got for
Buildings,
that.
grounds.
Buildings and grounds, so we need to have a discussion on this whole truck situation. We dodged a bullet with the Ford dump truck that we purchased. It's a 2000 and, what year is that, 18? 2018.
Already.
We're finding out real fast that these new diesel engines are not designed for what we do with them.
Not running hard enough.
To put it in simple terms, these things were not designed to sit around and idle and not really get blown out. There's a lot of emissions control stuff on them that tends to get clogged up. We did get lucky this time. Had that gone any longer, we were looking at a turbocharger for that, which could have cost us, what, 10 to 12,000? So yes, we did dodge a bullet there. Brian and I were talking, and I think we're both in agreement, and that's what I'm gonna bring to the table tonight. put this truck up for sale, see what it does. We'll put it on municipal bid. I have a pretty strong feeling we're gonna get somewhere around $50,000 to $60,000 out of this truck. Would you disagree with that,
You
Brian?
talking about the Ford?
No,
Yeah, the Ford.
I think I'd do it.
Get our feelers out there, see what it looks like. I mean, if we could get that 50 to 60,000 or somewhere in between there, I think it'd be a great idea to lose that truck and then purchase a gas truck, something that A, Brian knows how to work on, and B, almost every other shop around us knows how to work on. But you're also not gonna have the expense of the EGR and all the other fun emissions control stuff that comes with it. I seriously think that we could buy a very nice truck for 50 to 60,000 if it was a gas truck.
That's what I asked, but.
Can we get a deal, being as we're a municipality, don't we get a better deal at some,
Not really.
For
no,
what?
for buying a new truck? No?
Not much.
We went down that
They're
road
looking for you. It's
before.
kinda like the fire department buying a fire truck. Come on in.
Yep.
Okay.
They don't really help. And here's the thing too, we don't have to buy a brand spanking new truck, we just have to buy one that's used that suits us. But that's gonna be a discussion down the road, once we do get rid of this truck. The nice thing is like, the old truck, our old 07, I think I was an 07, right, the GMC?
It's an
That truck has no emissions, like the way that this new stuff
New
does.
stuff has,
We're
right?
not putting fluids in it, we're not dealing with any of that stuff. That truck is gonna outlast this new truck probably 10 times. So now's definitely the time to start talking about, listing this truck and seeing what we can get. It's open discussion, tell me your thoughts.
I think you and I had some discussion on this, and I'm gonna bring back what I talked to you
I think it's a
about.
good idea.
Is gasoline.
So gasoline
Are
is
we
all
gonna buy
purchased.
it down here, or are we going to do like we do diesel store?
Well, that's something down the road we can definitely discuss, because right now, the only things that we have our diesel tractor, our boom mower, we have our, backhoe, our Bobcat. Those are the three main vehicles off-road that we use
Diesel.
technically that run on diesel fuel. If we do buy a gas truck, it'll be the gas truck, the mowers, and then you know what, while I'm at this,
What's the pickup?
the pickup's gas too, but that's another truck that if we're gonna list stuff on municipal bid, that's the one, it's time to let that thing fly
That needs to
too.
go to.
So we might do a twofer. We did look into the price difference between buying gasoline from Sheetz versus buying gasoline from another distributor and bringing it up here. There wasn't much of a difference. And if you buy 500 gallons of gasoline and something happens in the next couple weeks, you almost might lose 20 cents, which now you're 10 cents cheaper to just buy it down the street anyway, so. And
Sheetz is
are we
expensive.
getting Sheetz rewards? Do they give us a percentage off?
It's starting in August, I believe it starts.
Because Sheetz is what,
They just.
D346 yet? You can go right across the line into East Palestine and get it for $2.99.
Now, I don't know the rules and regulations on that. I don't know if we're allowed to cross the line to purchase gas.
Sure, why not?
Well, there's different rules because we're paying tax here. When we purchase gas here, it turns into a problem. That's what they call the IFTA, International Fuel Tax Association. So there are rules and regulations. We'd have to dive into it and see what we can find out. I don't know if it pertains to boroughs or not, but I know that when you're driving in the state of Pennsylvania, they want you to buy Pennsylvania gas.
But you can't be required to.
You can be.
How and by whom?
IFTA.
Okay, I have to admit, I'm not familiar with IFTA.
So IFTA is, if you look on the side of any semi truck that's traveling down the road,
Okay.
they're usually the ones that are overseen by that more likely than anybody.
Oh,
But
it's for
because this is a
commercial.
business,
Yeah.
this is still considered a business, they require us to do that type of thing. We don't have to document it because we don't drive outside of the state. But if you drive outside of the state, you are required by law to show them where you purchased your gas, how much of it, and how many miles were driven in the state.
In the other state.
Yep. So it's kind of annoying.
All right.
I don't know how that works. I don't know. I guess I'd have to get a hold of IFTA and find out from them, but I don't know. It might be worth buying our own drum and driving out to Ohio every once in a while if we can do
Are we
that.
tax exempt?
But
Yeah, but we have to pay the gas.
we still pay road tax. We still pay gas tax. They don't write us anything back at the end of the year for that. We buy a lot of gas at Sheetz. So the question tonight is, would you guys be okay with, let's come up with a number. If we can get, what do you think, 55? Or anything over 55, let the truck go.
Well, have you priced out the gas trucks yet?
What's the new one?
I don't need to worry about pricing up the gas trucks because I'm telling you, it's gonna be 10 to 20,000 less
Then what?
Yeah, dude.
than a diesel, than what we're gonna sell the diesel
Oh, yeah,
for.
but.
Yes, but what's a diesel going for right now?
50 to 60,000.
We pay more of that for that one, don't we?
Oh, yeah, so we're not buying a brand new truck. That's out of the question. A new gas truck's gonna cost us 100 grand.
I'm
We don't
saying
have
that there
that.
was at least 70 when it was.
That's what I said.
When it was brand new, it was 81,000, I think. So it was up there.
18.
But today, to buy that exact same truck, you're looking at 120,000.
Yeah, you're over 100.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. This is something that we definitely gotta get a move on before something else breaks and it costs.
Being the
We
miles and.
ran
How many
the
years?
issue.
How many years of truck you gonna, what year truck you gonna get for 50,000, I guess? What do you think?
Well, a good friend of mine just sold his 2021 gas Ford with the same style bed, the stainless style bed on it. He sold it for 30,000. 4-wheel drive,
Okay.
big V10. They're out there, but we'll do some digging. I mean, this isn't something I'm just gonna chuck one truck and then hope for the best.
Yeah, we don't need the new one immediately, right?
No, we'll be all right. I mean, we can do some shopping, and if I have to send buy Brian a plane ticket to go get the thing, whatever, it is what it is, but, yeah.
Okay, well, how do you
You
want
guys wanna come up with a number, or? I mean, I'd love to shoot for the stars and say 80,000, but I can't guarantee that. We're obviously,
When you put this on an instant bid, do you have a reservation or a reserve or
yes,
whatever?
there is a reserve, and that's what we
Yeah,
have
you
to
can put a
discuss
reserve
tonight.
on.
What is our reserve?
What is gonna be your reserve? If it doesn't meet this number, it comes back.
I mean, we can shoot for the stars. I could put 65,000 on there. I mean, we're probably not gonna get it, but we may be able to contact the highest bidder and then hope that if we decide, hey, you were the highest bidder, you didn't meet reserve, but we will sell for that price.
I think you should just put it for what you think it's worth. I wouldn't, you know what I mean, do all that, then you're wasting more
The
time.
problem is if you have a reserve on it,
Well, I think the time is on our side at this point. I don't know that we're, it's not like it's down. If you shoot for 65 and get it, that's great. If you don't get it, then like you said, then you can,
Yeah.
okay, now it's dropped.
Yeah.
I'd rather shoot high and get, if we get it, that's super.
Do we have to
Don't
do
get it,
anything
then
to
we-
it
then we
to
can
sell
sell
it?
it back.
I mean, is there like any
That
plus
truck's ready to
mirrors on
go.
it or anything?
The one, I mean, it's not really the one mirror could be replaced because somebody put tape on it. But I replaced all the brakes and rotors on it. It's only got 20,000 miles on it.
I say we unload it.
It ought to bring some nice money.
Let me try, let's do this. Let's put 70. Let's reach for the stars, see what happens. And then I'll come back to you guys. I mean, if in, the next 2 weeks this happens and we get $68,000 offered, we can have a special meeting, go over it, and then,
Is there a way to track the bids?
yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so we can be watching.
Oh, yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, we can have a bid party or something and watch it all at my house or
Look
something.
how much you got out of that 99 we sold.
Well, yeah, we got $20-something thousand out of that truck and that was wore out.
That's what I'm saying.
I
And
think
you
it was
wanted to do the
30,000.
other truck too, right?
Yes, the other truck, Brian, what do you think, 5,000? If we get $5,000?
Pickup.
A
Yeah.
little pickup.
You got a grand out of it.
Well, I was gonna say,
And that's the one with the attachments you were saying to get rid of? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, do we wanna keep the plow for that, Brian?
I keep the plow.
We're keeping the plow.
Yeah,
So
well, I
I'll
have
put
to
it
buy
up,
a
we'll
new
see
one.
what happens, we'll let it fly.
yeah, we're not getting rid of the salter and the plow, right? We'll get both of them.
So we'll put 1,000 on the little truck. And then 70K on, new truck.
Well, can I ask this? I mean, you wanna sell that new truck?
Oh, yeah.
I would put the lowest bid that unions would agree on. If it doesn't, it's gone.
Yeah, but we can still contact them. I know in the past, with that last truck
But
that
it
we
ties
had.
them into it, whoever bids on it.
It does, but it also doesn't hurt that, eventually they're,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a truck that's gonna be a hard sale.
No,
If
I
somebody
think it's
bids it up to $65,000 and we contact them, I think they'll probably be thrilled to buy it. And if not a big deal, we run it again the next month.
I was just saying, if you put a reserve, say at 50,000, anything over that, it's out of here.
Yeah, but then you run the risk of somebody paying 50,000 for it and it's gone, and now we're slim pickings on a new truck.
Well, you're the one wanting to sell it.
Yep. This isn't my truck, this is the community's truck, so we gotta reach for the stars.
Make a motion.
Somebody, you make the motion, so he made the motion, anybody wanna second it?
I'll second the motion.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? Okay. let's put it up
Brian
for
and I will
sale.
work on that, we'll compose a list and get receipts and whatever, and
Put Gerald on cleaning. That inside looking like brand new.
have Gerald take pictures.
Wouldn't take much, it's pretty clean.
Okay,
Good.
that's all I
Make a
got.
list of all the stuff that's been done to it.
Nothing with the
They
mirror.
said it's only got 21 miles.
But you changed the brakes and you
Yeah, all
changed
the brakes.
everything,
List all that
everything
stuff.
that you did, list it all, so.
And we don't wanna do anything with the mirror.
No,
There's tape.
that's not gonna prevent the sale.
Don't take a picture of the mirror.
I only think you see it in the picture.
Bill, what you got?
Get Gerald, put his hand up on the car.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Wasn't on you, man.
All right,
Right.
fire and police, Ryan.
honestly, I don't have the report with me. Chief though is out on calls right now, so he wasn't able to show up.
Okay.
But Chief of Police, have you got any calls on a break-in at the old Christian school?
Yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, he called this afternoon.
Okay,
Somebody broke in,
yes.
they do damage or
They,
steal
I
something?
guess, he talked to my wife, said he stole some, I guess keeping some tenants or keeping stuff in there. Nobody's living there, but like using that
He's using it for
storage.
storage.
And I guess they broke in and stole some of their stuff, I guess. I don't know the full details of it.
Alright.
Did you tell him if he cleans all that area up, we can see around it, and we can see the people.
Oh, I called him too, I texted him, told him he needs to get that cleaned up.
Good.
Around there, so. Well, what part?
All of it.
All of it.
Look at it.
You know? Alright, sewer sanitation, Bill.
Okay, I don't really have anything new, except for yesterday. Was that when you called me? Jake called me, said something about, asked me if I was working on the sewer line down on West Sixth. And it ended up being a private residence having a problem with their line to the main. Brian and guys come down to open up our main flow and fire. So it was their problem. One question I have to ask, and what I can tell, they didn't have to do it. Anytime a private residence got to tear up the street, that there's an opening permit has to be filled out.
Mm-hmm.
Street opening permit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's usually there, I've talked to Jake, that's usually there. My thought was to make sure that the pavement got put back the way
Correct.
it was. What if this has to go across an alley, that's nothing but gravel? I did not charge a street permit, I don't even know if they went across it, because they weren't sure where they were going. But I didn't think that would be necessary for an
As long
alley.
as it's returned to the former
Yeah, just
state
put
that
back
it was
to the-
in.
I would say
don't see a problem
get the
with it.
permit and if they put it back the way it should be after, say after a month, if it's still fine, then give them the money back. If that's what you're.
Refund.
That's
What
what I'm
is
trying
the
to find out.
permit? How much
I
is
never
the
come
street
across that for an alley.
500, I think.
I don't know, I'd have to look in the,
What, street opening permit?
yeah, I don't know.
I have
off the
that.
top of my head.
So I would do that.
I did all that kind of stuff for when you did that. Street openings and the, when we put that line in down on West Fourth for the trailer. He had to get a permit and all that kind of stuff, make sure everything's back. So I just wanted to find out what your thoughts were on that, 'cause I wasn't sure.
Yeah, I would
Never ran
say,
across.
I mean, that's usually because you're cutting into the pavement. I
Yeah.
think. So I would say in an alley, probably one of us should be checking when they backfill.
If they, yeah, if they.
To make sure that
yeah.
they're backfilling, tamping, all that stuff. and give them, tell them, within a month of check it after a couple rainstorms. If the road sinks, they gotta. If you give it back to them, just say, look, if the road sinks.
Well, the guidelines are in there
We'll
for
give you your
for all
check
that, it's in the street opening permit, which is one of the adheres to that, same thing for the
I
alley.
would say so, yeah.
Are there specs for, you have to backfill with a certain
Yes.
gravel to sand it?
Because I think I had to actually get a bond one time or something. That makes sense.
We don't have
I
that.
can't
No,
remember.
we don't have
But
any-
anyways,
We don't have anything here.
I had to make sure that I put the street back together right.
Okay.
All right.
My other question I had on here was,
I'm hungry.
was council ballot concern. And when I voted, there was nobody on council ballot for Republican. I also heard that there was nobody on the ballot for Democrat.
That means you have to stay.
Tough luck. So my concern is what's gonna happen how does that work? How's it go if nobody runs?
We write your name in and you're in.
And we have to get at least 10 to do that, and I can still refuse it.
1, 2.
Same with you.
Were there any write-ins on those primary ballots?
There were some.
Nothing, you have to have at least 10
10,
write-ins in order to be considered,
That was my question. Nobody got 10.
no.
You have to be written in this fall, right?
Yes.
So we have to get a handful of
Yeah.
people to get him written in. Okay, that should be no
But I
problem.
just was concerned, what happens if nobody runs?
Yeah, well, if nobody fills
You have a
these
vacancy
in,
then.
And
Huh?
Then we have to fill your
vacancy.
seat.
I think
Well, you're gonna-
Janice
you're gonna
and I
have 3 or
also
4
need to run,
Huh?
right?
Yeah, they have.
Yeah.
Wait,
Since-
Yeah, you'll have to.
whose
be on the
places did
ballot.
Jens take? Jeff, was Jeff up?
Jeff and Louis, or Jeff and Jason.
I think Jeff was the first.
Jason wasn't up yet. Jason,
Jason
Jason's got-
just resigned,
Yeah.
right?
yeah, but he still has,
But
Oh.
used to be that way, we thought it was that way, but now at every election.
You're right.
you have to- like Jake had to go back and run for 2 years.
Well, who took Janet's?
Hmm?
Janet.
These
I don't
two-
think
it
anybody.
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Every year, you
These
have-
two were actually
every
Jake
election
and-
year, you
Jake
have
and
to
Jen.
be.
Yeah, you got Janet.
And then last
Jeff,
month
and-
Jason quit.
So if you guys don't all get written in by 10 votes, then you're out.
Right.
there's
But then we can reappoint them though.
Yeah.
We'd have to reappoint you then.
Okay, Kevin and I started talking about this through email, literally today. What our game plan is that we're going to figure out who has to run, who has to do what, and at the next meeting, we're going to bring it to the table and everyone will know who has to do what, who has to be written in, who has to. So,
Okay.
And that's fine, my point is, do we need 7 council people? Can we downsize?
If you downsize it,
It's more work for everybody else.
there is more work. You'd have to go through, I did that
Don't you
one
have to
time.
do a referendum on the ballot?
No, you had to do a court petition. I did it for Eastville. I had to do a court petition and to reduce it down by 2 people.
Yeah, but if we're having trouble,
Pardon me?
You can't do it by ballot now.
Yeah, I'm not saying that's the only way to do it, but I remember I did do it that way the one time. Okay, I'd have to see if there've been any changes to that now. But whoever said, yeah, my impression is, just sitting there listening, you guys have a lot of work you guys do.
I understand that.
And to reduce it down by 2, well, that's gonna be tough on the
Mhm.
remaining warm bodies here, so,
But if you're not getting anybody to fill the seats, you're still doing all that work anyhow.
yeah, that's true.
But you still left the door open for other help.
Yeah.
But
And
we're not getting it showed up.
I don't think it's accurate.
And the other way around this thing is,
Either, you know.
I think we ought to put
We have
something on
vacant spots,
Facebook.
yeah.
Concerned citizens.
it needs to be out there everywhere.
And like I said, worst comes to worst, if we have empty seats after the election, if you don't get in, or you don't get in, or you don't get in, we just reappoint. Right?
You can.
To fill the seat.
Yeah, I guess you.
Yeah, well, you have a vacancy.
But that'd be only for the next until the next.
2 more
until the
years.
next 2 years,
Yeah,
right?
right, it's not a full, you're not
Right.
appointed for a full term, right?
Put his name on it,
But Jen and I were talking,
big signs.
so you have a motion to accept Jason's resignation. That will start the 30-day clock, right, to fill that. If you don't fill that, then, if you don't fill by another, no, then isn't a vacancy board
Vacancy board, yeah.
within the next 15 days. you have to,
Do we have to accept his resignation tonight?
He did it last,
Okay.
last month at the council meeting, does it still need to be?
Has
Oh,
to be
yeah.
accepted,
It has to be accepted by.
whoever said, Kevin, whoever said it, the 30 days
What's that?
starts from
We
the
didn't do
time
that last
you
month?
accept
No.
the
He didn't really give
resignation.
anybody a chance, he just quit and then, you know.
That wasn't on the agenda.
Well, I know that, but that doesn't mean you're gonna vote on it. So if he's
Worked
still,
out better this
is he
way.
still on council?
Until his resignation is accepted, yes,
Mhm.
So then he's gonna get paid.
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
he resigned, he verbally resigned. But council didn't accept the resignation until, well, it's on the docket tonight.
Did he resign during the course of a meeting?
Yes.
Okay, but his resignation wasn't accepted by the rest of you folks, right?
No, we did not accept
Okay.
it.
So it's really no different than, somebody resigns between meetings, it's not valid.
I just thought it was voted on last month to go ahead and accept his resignation.
Until you accept it I think it actually says until you accept it or at the next regularly scheduled business meeting. I can't remember off the top of my head, but there is a time limit there, okay?
Yeah.
But you gotta accept, well.
Well, it's 45
accept
days. It's either whatever comes later,
Yeah.
that you accept it or 45 days passes,
But
it becomes official.
But accept it now, and you got the 30 days, and like was mentioned, then you have a vacancy board that's supposed to implement that. And you may not even have your vacancy board filled right now, I don't know.
No, we
if
don't
you
have
do or
one.
not.
That's run by a citizen, chaired by a citizen.
I think you can have, well, I don't have it right in front of me. I think it's 3 or 4 people on a vacancy board, and I think you can have one council person.
It's chaired by a citizen.
Yeah, so.
We also talked to that, and there should be because you all did approve appoint Justin and Candace, that's required to be done by a resolution. Yeah, Borough Code. So Jenna has a resolution for that to be signed to make that official. But whomever you appoint for Jason's seat, there will have to be an appointment by resolution to make that official, whenever that time comes.
Cause I was just shocked that that's the first time I've ever seen an empty ballot.
I know.
3 empty spots, and then I heard the same thing was on the other, the only thing was on there, I think, was the mayor and Kathy. I said, I can't believe nobody's running.
Yeah, I didn't
Doesn't
see
make
that
sense.
because I'm a Republican.
Yeah, I am too. The only other option, if we can't reduce, and if we're having trouble to fill the seat, heaven forbid, would be to shut down and merge. Like Chippewa.
Do what, Bill?
Shut down. and
Shut
merge.
down the borough and see if Chippewa would be interested in merging.
And I've thought about that a
Chippewa's
lot.
taxes are the same, we're 2.7, they're 2.6. Beaver Falls, however, 6. So, if you want to merge Beaver Falls, you gotta pay a lot more taxes.
See, I've thought about that a lot because we are running short on people.
We're having trouble, yeah.
And I thought about Beaver Falls, because Beaver Falls does a lot of streets, but their taxes are so much higher.
Yep.
So
More than double.
Chippewa was the other one, but I didn't know what their taxes were.
They're actually lower than us, 5 point.
Well, we're gonna have
They're
to
2.6,
start
we're
thinking about
2.7.
that too, because if they,
We're
I mean,
still
what's
in their
the
school district.
downfall?
Workshop.
Still in the same, yeah.
Still in the same school
That's just
district.
something that we gotta be
But
thinking about.
we're in a contract with the fire department right now.
That's the issue too.
You know?
Yeah, that, but there's also a way out.
Yeah,
They have a way out.
Add it to the workshop.
okay,
That's the point of workshops, is to have these discussions. So
That
this
was-
meeting doesn't run 3 hours.
yep. So that was it for you, Bill?
Yes.
Right.
Nothing under ordinance, Candace, nothing,
We need to
Why
accept
not?
the motion for Jason's resignation, so we
Yeah.
can do it.
Oh, I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Thanks, Ryan.
You're welcome.
You're number
I
one.
wasn't gonna second, I was gonna make him come back.
I think that's the last thing we gotta do. Okay, all in favor of accepting the resignation? Opposed? Okay, so do you have something for me to sign?
I'll do that after it doesn't.
Okay. Joe, nothing under new?
No, sir.
Mayor, nothing under new?
No.
Well, I think we can,
Motion to adjourn?
I'll make, I need a motion.
Pay the bills.
Oh, yeah, we gotta pay the
Back
bills.
It's all
back
done.
to the agenda.
Ah,
Oh, there's the facts up.
okay.
Didn't see a sign that says over.
We have to have a roll call on that now. Okay, I need
Just if
a,
we
I
can
need
get
a
a motion
motion.
and everybody say aye.
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Pay the
second the
bills.
motion and pay the bills.
Aye.
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 Okay. Ratification of purchases.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That was everybody. Opposed? No. Okay.
Adjournment?
Adjourn.